my friendos. Let's go. Okay, let's go. Trial day 1. Good morning, Mr. Wright. Good morning, Ellen. I see you're still wearing your wedding crown. And I will continue to wear it until our marriage is saved. Oh, so Sorin. Sorin? Do you think he came to see how she's holding up? Sorry, my love. You came all the way to the courthouse just to see me? Oh, sorry. I don't know what to say. Blueprints. Huh? The engine blueprints. I can't find them. Do you know where they are? Oh, they're in your room. Third shelf from the bottom on the right-hand side. Ah, I see. And it just vanished. He's leaving already? Don't tell me he came just to ask about some stupid blueprints. Is he really just that cool of a person, or is that just how he comes off, I wonder? What about me, Sorin? Ellen, he's back? Come home soon. I'm lost without you. Sorin! Later. Looks like the showing you vulnerabilities is the fastest way to capturing a woman's heart. You should take notes on this, Nick. Please leave me out of this. Anyway, it looks like Sorin said big on words. It's just clear that he cares about Ellen. Knowing that, I actually feel kind of relieved. Mr. Wright? Just absolutely can't be found guilty, you hear? Don't worry, I'm going to do everything I can to prove you're innocent. Thank you, Mr. Wright. The trial is about to start, sir. Edgeworth. Knowing him, he's not going to yield an inch. So I just gotta fight with everything I've got and save Ellen. September. Court is now in session for the trial of Ellen Wyatt. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor. In so many familiar faces gathered together like this, I feel as though I'm at a grand reunion. It makes me want to go out for dinner and a drink and reminisce with all of you. Oh, that sounds like a great idea. I was dying for a real burger the whole time I was away. You could make it a welcome back party for Maya. How about it, Edgeworth? I have no intention of cooperating with my enemies. Now then, Your Honor, let us start this trial at once. Oh, still not one for a light-hearted panther, are you, Mr. Edgeworth? Jokes and good humor are beyond worthless in a court of law. Guess we'll just have to have the party without him then. However, after the conclusion of this trial, I might consider joining you for your little welcome back party. I certainly wouldn't mind an invite at the very least. He's still as emotionally constipated as ever, I see. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you could please go over the details of this case for us. Victim was Thomas Gloomsbury, a servant in the Sparket household. He was in attendance at the wedding and reception that occurred from 7 PM to 10 PM. Mr. Gloomsbury apparently felt some animosity towards Ellen Wyatt, and so, a bit after the reception ended at 10 PM, he assaulted Miss Wyatt with the intent to kill her. The defendant fought back and ended up killing Mr. Gloomsbury. In other words, it was justified self-defense, correct? If that's the case, then the defendant might not be criminally responsible. That's right, worst case scenario, I could go for self-defense to avoid the criminal charge. Wonder how Edgeworth plans to counter that, though. The prosecution's first witness will make any view on the matter clear, Your Honor. Very well. Bailiff, please bring in the first witness. Emma. Please state your name and occupation, witness. Emma Sky, forensics investigator. And I'd just like to say, sir, that being in the same courtroom as you is a great honor. Oh, that's right. You're a fan of Edgeworks, aren't you, Emma? We're good friends and all, Mr. Wright. But just this once, I intend to faithfully and fully testify for the prosecution. I do mean for that wholeheartedly. I expect no less from you. Yes, sir. I'm going to do my very best. Looks like you lost the popularity contest to Mr. Edgeworth. Edgeworth? Meh. I really could care less. Besides, she'll see who's the better lawyer and once I win this trial. Yeah, maybe then you'll actually really care less. Now, Detective Sky, if you please. The mirror weapon was a clock called the timekeeper. The victim was hit with it from behind and he fell over right into the lantern. His friend was spotted then standing in the front of the body holding the mirror weapon. The victim was struck twice, by the way. He was struck twice? That's right, there's no mistake about it. His first blow was to the back of the victim's head. It was hard enough to knock him unconscious, yet despite the fact that he had been immobilized by the first blow, the defendant delivered a second fatal blow to the side of the victim's head. Which means what exactly? I figured it would go right over your head. Let's put it this way. By striking the victim a second time, the defendant killed her last chance to escape from any criminal wrongdoing. She did, but how, Mr. Edgeworth? The defendant may have been fighting back because she was being attacked. However, she then went on to deliver a fatal blow to a man who was already fully unconscious. Is he saying what I think he is? I don't feel so well. I'm going to be likely to submit the victim's autopsy report. So that's why he was acting all smug, well, more smug than usual. It's fine, right? It's not like we were going to plead self-defense anyway, right? Right, but now the judge has the negative impression of Ellen. He may not get to prosecute much anymore, but he definitely hasn't lost his touch. Okay. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Okay, let me see. The Bloomsbury had shown of being hit twice. The timekeeper was used as the mirror weapon. That several emerged from a strong blow to the head. One contusion was found on the back of the head, and one on the side. The blow were caused by the same weapon. So discovering this other one in this dressing hall. Hit from behind? That's not possible!
Objection!
Detective Sky, I'm afraid I have to apologize in advance. For what? For embarrassing you in front of your idol. What do you mean? You take a look at this photo of the crime scene. You see that the victim is lying on his back. But if the victim had been hit from the behind as you claim, then he should have fallen over into a lantern face down. It's not enough to simply take someone's side, Detective Sky, even if it's Mr. Edgeworth. Yeah. Oh. There does appear to be a flaw in Detective Sky's testimony. Mr. Wright, if you think I'm going to just back right now, then you're sadly mistaken. Emma is unusually fired up today. Don't forget she's in front of her hero, Nick. If the Steel Samurai came to watch this trial, I want to do my absolute best too. Listen, Mr. Wright. It's entirely possible that the defendant moved the victim's body after he fell over. In that case, there wouldn't be any contradiction, right? Indeed, that was an excellent counter-argument, detective. You can count on me, sir. So, what do you have to say to that, Mr. Wright? It's possible that the victim's body was moved after he fell into a lantern. It's not possible. Sorry, detective, but there's no way that the victim's body was moved after he's dead. Oh, really? And what makes you so sure? Well, look at this here, and it should become obvious. Those broken bits of the lantern? Yes, if the body had been moved after the move effect, these fragments would have fallen off of it. But as you can clearly see, they're lying perfectly undisturbed on top of the body. That means the victim must have been lying face up before the lantern even broke. You're right. But wait a minute, if that's true, then when was the victim killed? I mean, the lantern was still whole during the reception, right? Right, which means we have just overturned a major assumption about this case. The victim was already dead before the lantern was even broken. Then the body must have been inside the lantern since before the reception started. In other words, the defense asserts that the victim was killed before the wedding reception. What? In short, when Miss Wyatt was seen standing in front of the body after the reception, it was in the moment just after the murder was committed. It was the moment she happened to discover the body, just as Miss Wyatt claims.
Objection!
Whether the act was committed before or after the reception is entirely inconsequential. After it was the defendant who prepared the reception hall for the event in question. Therefore, when the murder occurred, changes nothing with regard to her guilt. She could have killed the victim before the reception, as you claim, and then try to hide his body in the lantern after the event ended.
Objection!
Edgeworth! Sorry, but that doesn't make any sense. I mean, where would the body have been hidden during the reception in your scenario? That's... I mean, you have to admit, Mr. Edgeworth, that this has opened up a new possibility. Did you explain, Mr. Wright? Well, Miss Wyatt didn't commit the crime in the reception hall, then that means someone somewhere put the victim's body into a lantern. I suppose that makes sense. A dead body could have put itself in there. Exactly, Your Honor. In other words, the murder actually occurred before the reception. It opens up the possibility that he was killed somewhere else. If the body was hidden inside the lantern, then it's possible that the body was moved along with it from somewhere else. Oh, you're right. You can run that math of yours all you want. But do you have any evidence to support what's coming out of it, Mr. Wright? Of course I do. I think the answer lies in that piece of evidence and in something that was left at the crime scene that will point us to where the victim was really killed. Very well, Mr. Wright. In that case, what proves that lantern the body were moved from somewhere else? Not that. Oh yeah, pick up ball. I forgot. Yeah. The photo of the victim again. Yes. I'd like the court to focus on this thing right here. This pet doll. I'm afraid I don't get it at all. What exactly are we looking at here, Mr. Wright? The far of looking I suggest. Wait. Come on. No. Let's go to focus on this thing right here. What the? Pretty sure. Not that one. Let me point this one next. Oh. No, wait. If I don't get it at all. Hello? Save? It's okay. We got 3. No, okay. Come on, it's right there. Flower petals, Mr. Wright. God damn it, man. These petals are from kind of flower that were not present in the reception hall. It just means they must have gotten into the lantern when it was somewhere else. And just where you have proposed to somewhere else to be, Mr. Wright? Propose that this piece of evidence will tell us where the flower petals came from. I have it. Where is it? Where is it? There. Please take a look at the flowers in this picture of the hold. Notice how the petals are of the same shape as the petals in the criminal scene photo. Yes, I see. They look to be from the same kind of flower.
Objection.
Is that really all you've got? A flower is a flower is a flower is a flower is a flower. They're all the same. I would hardly call what you presented a compelling evidence. I'm afraid I couldn't disagree with you more, Mr. Edgeworth. I gave a flower of this type to my lovely wife once when we were young, so I can assure you that this is a very meaningful and a compelling evidence indeed. The soundness of my judgment in this matter is backed by nothing less than a pure love. But, Your Honor, let it go, Mr. Edgeworth. It's clear you don't know much about flowers. Let it go and move on. It's not like you have anyone you are actually give it any to, after all. But maybe you should study up on them, just in case the opportunity presents itself. Oof. Ugh. This is from the man who only knows the names of 3 types of flowers. That's highly relevant to the case at hand. Defense asserts that it's highly probable that the victim was killed in the hold. If the body was then placed in the lantern and moved to the reception hall for some reason. We completely destroyed the prosecution's case. Then you mean the body was... Yes, the victim's body was inside the lantern during the entire beautiful wedding reception, while the defendant and her betrothed were celebrating their love. What?
Objection.
Your smooth talk might work on his honor, but it won't work on me. What are you talking about now? Take another look at all of the evidence and you'll soon see what I mean. I wish he would just tell me already. Detective Sky, I'm sure you already figured out what I'm talking about, correct? Of course, sir. Mr. Wright is the only one here who hasn't. Why don't you leave this to me, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, let's see what you can do. Detective Sky, please give your testimony to this court. Okay. Victim could not have been killed before the reception. The autopsy report states that the estimated time of death was after the reception. And that estimated time of death is correct. There's no way it could be wrong. Hey, you're wrong about that, lady. It's claimed that Bloomsbury was killed after the reception. That completely contradicts your claim. I guess so. Tell me you took at least a cursory glance at the autopsy report, Mr. Wright. It appears you have grown rusty since our last outing. I suggest you go back and brush up on the basics. Sure, though, I must say you're as cocky as ever, Mr. Edgeworth. I beg your pardon? What are you trying to say, Mr. Wright? I'm just saying that I'll go back to basics if that's what Mr. Edgeworth wants. I'll prove how badly he's underestimating me with a good old-fashioned cross-examination. Very well, let's see you put your money where your mouth is, Mr. Wright. Alright. Where was it? Not this one, not this one. This one could be wrong. It could be wrong because...
Objection!
This one. I admit that the estimated time of death does contradict my theory. Finally, and that means your theory that the victim was killed before the reception is still entirely plausible. Huh? What makes you think that? The killer could have falsified the time of death by using a certain item in the reception hall. Please take a look at this. And what is that contraption, Mr. Wright? It's a fog machine your mother used to create a special romantic atmosphere in the hall. And this machine could have been used to falsify the time of death. Yes, Your Honor, because this machine uses a dry ice to perform its magic. Dry ice? Ah, yes, the super cold stuff commonly used to make theatrical fog, right? I see. So your claim is that these dry ice was used to keep the body cold? Oh. In that case, I guess the victim could have been killed before the reception. Order in this court. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do you have to say about this development? That the victim was killed in the hall before the wedding reception. The prosecution acknowledged the possibility of this claim. Now we're getting somewhere. The prosecution would also like to thank you, Mr. Wright. Huh? For what? I didn't know how a certain piece of evidence fit into this case. But now thanks to you, I do. What piece of evidence? To get into the hall, and one needs a key card like this one. And here we have a record of those who entered the hall with such a key cards. Entry number 4, Dumas, Gloomsbury, Pierce, Nicody, and Ellen Wyatt. Times aren't specified, but these are the last 3 entries on the day of the murder. And as you can see, the last person to enter the hall that day was the defendant. What? So the one who's moved the body out of the hall must have been... That's right, it was none other than the defendant. Okay. Hey, take a look at this engineer record. There are a couple other names on him besides Ellen, Dumas, and Pierce. Objection? Hey, you alright? According to the entry record, Mr. Edgeworth, Pierce and Hall had also gone into the hall. It's impossible that he could have been the culprit.
Objection!
Sorry, but Mr. Nicody was escorting a few of the guests at the time. I'm sure they would be happy to testify to that fact if you'd like. Think me cocky all you like, Mr. Wright, but my confidence is rarely misplaced. I mean, she could have been in the hold after the victim was into the lantern. Now then, it's probably safe to assume that after killing the victim in the hold, the defendant moved his body to the hall in order to dispose of it discreetly. What do you mean by discreetly? The defendant volunteered to take care of the receptions to clean up personally. That means she would have had the chance to dispose of anything in any way she wanted, including taking the lantern off the airship without raising any suspicion. Don't tell me you didn't know about this about Miss Wyatt volunteering for cleanup duty, Mr. Wright. Look at you, sweating buckets like a rookie, even after all these years. Nevertheless, thank you for proving that the only person who could have killed the victim in the hold is Ellen Wyatt. Great job, Phoenix. Now we're back to square one. Perhaps you should ask Miss Sykes for some help in reviewing Defense for Dummies. Way to go, sir. You've got Mr. Wright in a cold sweat. Wonder if it may be the promise of seeing that miserable look on his face. It's what brought me back to court today. It certainly made all of my stress and woes as Chief Prosecutor just melt away. I guess he had a lot of stress build up. I'll give him something to stress over before we are through today. Your Honor, the prosecution asks that you render your verdict at this time. Before that man over there tries to throw the court into chaos with his meaningless bluffs. May I see, Mr. Wright? Are there any less meaningful bluffs you'd like to present to this court? Why does he have to assume it'll be a bluff? Hurry up and throw a good one out there. I will. Well, alright then. Let's see. I've got it. How do you know it was Miss Wyatt who used her key card? After all, it turned out that somebody else chose her card. It would mean Miss Wyatt didn't do it. Interesting. And are you able to prove this bluff to be true? I assure you I'm not bluffing, Your Honor. Well, now what? Wait a minute. I can think of somebody who might have used Ellen's key card. You can? Remember? The one who was sneaking around the hall in spite of not being a family member. Oh, that's right. Your Honor, the defense would like to call a certain witness to the stand. I need the testimony of this person who may have entered the hall with Miss Wyatt's card. Larry, boss! Very smell? When they're usually, boss. Are you saying that that numbskull was on the other ship? He never breathed a word about that to me. That's not as surprising because Mr. Nikon told him to keep quiet about it. But Mr. Boss himself admitted to it to me. He claimed to have found a way to sneak into the Flying Chapel's hold to see Miss Wyatt. This is what he took and gave it to me as proof. Then, was it he who moved the lantern with the body inside to the reception hall? You know as well as I that with him anything is possible. And this is one possibility that we should definitely look into. I can't believe this. What in the world is he doing mixed up in this? Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. Remember what we have been saying since elementary school? When something smells, it's usually the boss. Exactly. Yeah, that Larry, he'll pay for this. Well, if you want to extract your payment now, he's right up there in the gallery. Yikes! Bailiff, seize the witness before he makes a run for it. No, why does this stuff always happen to me? Sorry, Larry, but you brought this on yourself. Let's break for a 15-minute recess. I ask that both sides prepare for the next witness's testimony during this time. Larry. Wow, it's been a while since I've had this much fun and excitement. A face-off against Mr. Edgeworth, a harrowing tightrope walk for the defense. Phew, I'm exhausted already. Edgeworth will punch him one day, more like we'll kill him one day. Boss? Dina, I'm here for moral support. Dina, are you all done practicing for Chusie's magic show? Well, to be perfectly honest, I saw her run away. But that's because she was putting my life in danger, I tell you. I see, I think I'll need to have a one-on-one with her. You're really athletic and fit, Athena, so Chusie probably thinks she can run you ragged. That may be true, which is why not even Chusie can keep up with me when I run at full speed. Ha! Looks like you spoke too soon, Athena. Never underestimate the resourcefulness of a great magician. Huh? Ta-da! Magical girl Chusie Wright is on the scene. No! Now, Athena, it's time to practice human combustion magic. Go on, douse yourself in this gasoline. But don't worry, it's a magic trick after all, so it's perfectly safe. Run away! Human combustion. Drink some gasoline, baby. Hey, you're not getting off that easily. They get along so well, don't they? Reminds me of the good old days. You, me, and Pearly. Oh, and Detective Gumshoe. Can't forget him. He had all kinds of fun at the crime scene back then, remember? Leaving me to do all the serious investigating all as I recall. Corby will soon be back in session, Mr. Wright. Right, thank you. So Larry's the next witness, right? I can't wait to see what happens. Sadly, I can already imagine it. Corby now reconvene. Nick, Itchy! Still, you're gonna hang me out the Twilight, aren't you? No, not the both of us. Just Mr. Wright. Nick, how could you? I don't really think he did it, of course, but I gotta use whatever leads I can. Mr. Boss, there's a possibility that you moved the lantern that had the dead body in it. So if you want to clear yourself of any suspicion, all you have to do is testify. Now then, your testimony, please, witness. Okay, here we go. Larry's testimony. He's a jerk face. Nick, you big fat stinging jerk. How do you stop your best bud? We've known each other since elementary school. Well, get this, pal. Our friendship is over. Well, go ahead, Mr. Wright. He's all yours. Why me? You're the one who called him to the stand, so it's your responsibility. Thanks, old chump. Can any of you show me a little respect? Even just a shred. I would if there were any testimony to cross-examine. Alright, let's see here.
Hold it!
Come on, Larry. Can't you please give me something real to work with? Not that I don't know about your tricks. If I say something careless, you're gonna shove some evidence at me with a loud objection and super smug look on your face. Yeah, well, that is my job. And if I get found guilty, how are you gonna take responsibility for what you have done? Why should I take responsibility for just doing my job? You harmless jerk, don't you have any compassion for me?
Hold it!
I'm sorry, Mr. Boss, but if it wasn't Miss Wyatt that entered the hold with that card, then you're the most likely suspect. Nick, are you seriously doubting the innocence of your old childhood friend? Well, technically, yes. It isn't personal, I assure you. Ooh, a true friend would believe in me no matter what. Can you see my tears? Don't they mean anything to you? You don't really think you can cry your way out of this, do you? Okay, fine. In that case.
Hold it!
Larry, listen to me. Shut up! I'm not talking to you anymore. This is getting us nowhere. Come on it, Larry. Come off. If you don't quit fooling around and start testifying, Miss White will be found guilty. For real? If no new information comes out of this cross-examination, then yes, Mr. Boss, for real. Not that I would have a problem with that myself. Larry, just tell us the truth already. Did you or didn't you go into the hold and move a lantern up to the reception hall? I never moved any bull lantern, I tell ya. Bull lantern. What? Did I say something rare? You told me that you didn't attend the wedding reception. Can you believe they told me only family? Then how did you know about the bull lantern? Yeah, so what? Then that's odd. Nobody in the discord room ever mentioned the sex of the lantern that was moved. So how could you know it was a bull lantern? You didn't have to actually go to the reception to know that. You know, could tell there were two Pekka bulls by looking at the Flying Chapel's pamphlets. No, there's one female. All I can tell right now is that there's a strong scent of bull in the air in here. Please add that to last statement to your testimony, Mr. Boss. No. There were no two, baby. You can see here a Pekka cow and a Pekka bull.
Objection!
Why don't you take a look at this, Mr. Boss? Because unfortunately for you, the pamphlet clearly shows a Pekka cow and a Pekka bull in the example diagram of the reception hall. Huh? But on that day, instead of putting a Pekka cow and Pekka bull out for the bride and groom, there were two male Pekka bulls on display. Yet somehow you knew there were two Pekka bulls in the reception hall that day. There's only one way you know something like that, Larry. It was you who moved the Pekka pool to the reception hall, wasn't it? No! Larry, you didn't... Mr. Boss, did you move the lantern containing the victim's body to the reception hall? That's what it looks like? What? Wait. You don't think I'm the murderer, do ya? Maybe you and Mr. Bloomsbury were fighting over Miss Wyatt and you end up killing him. Maya, not you too. Look, I did sneak into the reception, but that's as far as it went. You know me, I wouldn't hurt a fly. You snuck into a reception? Yeah, sure, but some of the Sprocket men are caught and locked me up in one of the cabins. It was pretty awful, actually. That's when I made that drawing of the pterodactyl. I showed you. Ixnay. On the Aerodactyl Pte, Larry. Is that right? Not even you would take this little farce that far, would you? You're talking about Larry. What do? I accuse Larry of being the true culprit? Of course not. No, you're right, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Boss didn't have a reason to kill Mr. Bloomsbury. You might have had an imaginary reason to kill Simon Sprocket, sure, but not Mr. Gloomsbury. After all, he did steal Mr. Sprocket's bride and try to elope with her. Just because I have tried to steal somebody's bride doesn't make me a murderer. I believe you, Larry, and I don't think you killed anybody either. You would never do anything like that. Yeah, oh buddy, oh pal, I need you to come through for me. Funny that considering your sworn testimony just now that we were through. Mr. Boss, it's time you told this court the whole truth, understand? Okay, the whole truth. Moving the lantern. Just like Nick said, I'm the one who moved the lantern. Was poking around the reception hall before the main event and saw a lantern was broken. There was a note on it that said, exchange with the one in the hall, Ellen. So I decided to do Ellie a favor. So you switched the lanterns before the reception, didn't you? That means the victim really was killed before the reception. The only which the victim's body was found, Larry wheeled it from the hall to the reception hall before the reception began. It would appear that Mr. Boss completely failed for the defendant's scheme. Scheme? What scheme? This note from the defendant exchanged with the one in the hall, Ellen. Mr. Boss moved the lantern with the body in it up to a reception hall because of this note. Thus, he has become a suspect in this Mr. Gloomsbury murder. Look, that second lantern did feel pretty heavy. But I never would have thought there was a body in it. Ugh, was the note like that doing on a lantern in the first place? You got it all wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. I left that note for myself. It was simply for a reminder because I can be very forgetful. What a sorry excuse, Miss Wyatt. The prosecution contends that this note shows one facet of the defendant murderer's plan. And you, Mr. Boss, you played right into Miss Wyatt's hand. No way, Edgy, I don't believe it.
Objection!
Do you still really believe Miss Wyatt to be the culprit, Mr. Edgeworth? Of course, my stance on the matter remains unchanged. If you think I'm wrong, then prove it with your cross-examination. Gladly. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Okay, something bothering me. Let's try the first thing. Where does it say?
Hold it!
That note wasn't addressed to you, was it? Well, I guess not, but how could I let my dear sweet Ellie do all the hard physical labor on her own? Precisely that through that process that constantly gets you in trouble, Larry. Besides, it was my big chance to show her how much I care about her. Okay.
Hold it!
Nobody saw you the whole time while you were switching the lanterns? Nope, I didn't get caught. Not that time anyway. Not that time? Yeah, when I tried to sneak into the reception hall the first time. Hey, I didn't have much luck. Those Sprocket guys spotted me and nabbed me. All of my words are failing me right now. Pretty exciting, right? Don't you think? Larry, you need help. And then they locked me up in one of the cabins. Why are you asking about stuff like this for anyway? Shouldn't you be trying to prove Ellie's innocent? Well, it's not saying if it's important to the case, it's important. If the bus tried to crash the reception and subsequently getting locked up in a cabin. I believe these might be important facts in this case, Your Honor. Very well.
Hold it!
So you got locked up, then what happened? I broke out, and I started looking for Ellie and they wandered in the reception hall again. It's when I saw a broken lantern and I replaced it. Even after they caught you and locked you up, you still went looking for Miss Wyatt? But hold on a minute. What is it? Maya, doesn't something seem weird to you? Larry's saying he replaced the lantern after he broke out the cabin. That's right. Oh wait, huh? You're right. It doesn't make much sense, does it? Mr. Wright, have you found an inconsistency in the witness's statement? Yes, I believe so, Your Honor. Mr. Boss moved the lantern after he broke out of the cabin, but that contradicts with this. Before the whole...
Take that!
Is that... Yes, it's the broken lantern, Your Honor. Mr. Boss, what you're saying doesn't make any sense at all. What? Why not? You swapped the lanterns before the reception began, right? Yeah, that's what I said, isn't it? But you also just said that you swapped the lanterns after you got locked up in a cabin for trying to sneak into reception. In other words, you were saying you swapped the lanterns both before the reception. And after the reception took place? That certainly doesn't make any sense, does it? Mr. Boss, did you swap the lanterns before or after the reception? Which was it, before or after? There's a world of difference between the two. Well, Mr. Boss, I guess I can't expect guys like you to understand. So in a nutshell, it was both before and after the reception. What? I tried to sneak into the first reception and got locked up. The first reception? Uh-oh, I don't like where this is going. Then through the power of Ellie's pendant, time got rewound and we went back to a time before the reception. It's after that when I replaced the lantern. So it was both before and the reception and after the reception. Got it? We went back in time to before reception. So of course the reception would take place one more time after that, right? That's why I said what I said makes perfect sense. Mr. Wright, what in the world is the witness talking about? I said he developed some sort of intellectual element I'm not aware of since I saw him last. Oh well. None of the sprockets seem to remember the time skip, but I do. Nelly remembers it too. I think the power of our love for each other made that miracle happen. Mr. Wright, I'm sorry, but would you please translate this man's gibberish so the rest of us can understand? But now I have to be the one explaining about the whole time travel thing. Go on, I know you can do it. Looks like you don't have much choice. To heck with it. I can't lose any more of my dignity today anyway. The defendant, Miss Ellen Wyatt, has told the defense the following strange story. She has said that after the reception ended, she was attacked by Mr. Bloomsbury. She claims that as she was being assaulted, she made a wish upon her pendant. Please take me back to that place for a moment. In doing so, the whole Sprocket families, are working together. They reenacted the second time, apparently rewound itself just before the reception began. No. In what? I know it's hard to believe, but think about it this way. Through the power of the pendant, both Ellen White and Larry Boss experienced time travel. What?
Objection!
What absolutely rubbish. Mr. Wright, I've heard my fair share of your nonsense over the years. This takes the cake. Have you thoroughly lost your mind?
Objection!
But this is simply the conclusion I came to, using that logic ability you love so much. What? The truth of the matter is that the future president of the Sprocket Aviation, Soren Sprocket, has been researching time machines. So what if that time machine has already been successfully created? What if that's one of Sprocket's Aviation's top secret inventions? A time machine? Yeah, I even saw something while we were time traveling. So a pterodactyl flying through the sky. Maybe the airship was set to travel through time for their honeymoon trip. What? A pterodactyl? Terror. Can't possibly have any evidence to back up your ridiculous time travel story. Well, as I thought. In any case, I now have the evidence to prove that you are no more intelligent than Larry. Not so fast now, Ecchi. I'm not the same old Larry used to know. Oh, Want evidence? I got you evidence right here. This is a photo I secretly took of the first reception. What? What? Well, Larry, I can't believe you. Well, anyway, good job. If we compare the photos of the first and second receptions and can find a difference, then we'll be able to prove that the reception was held twice. But do you really think such a difference exists? We're about to find out. Yes, Your Honor. I just need some time to find it for you. This is preposterous. Very well. Please show the court what's different then. This is proof that possibility that the viewing perception was held twice. Okay, let's compare to the first photo. I see. The flower is different.
Take that!
Please, I'll direct your attention to Mr. Wyatt's bouquet of flowers. The photo of one of her in-laws took, the defendant is holding a yellow bouquet. In the photo Mr. Boss took, she's holding a red bouquet. You're right. That's impossible! What does this mean? It means that the defendant really did experience two wedding receptions. And she did that when she traveled back through time. What? You did it! You proved Ellen's time travel story to be true. Yeah, I can hardly believe it myself. It's just as Ellen said, the reception was held twice. This turns every assumption we have based this trial on upside down.
Objection!
I refuse to accept such a ludicrous argument. It is pure fiction under the guise of pseudoscience at best. There's simply no such thing as time travel. I know it's hard, but can't you suspend your disbelief for 1 nanosecond, Edgeworth? I bet sci-fi movies push all your buttons the wrong way, don't they, Mr. Edgeworth? I can totally picture you yelling that never happened every 5 seconds at the screen. Maybe you should stay away from movie dates altogether. That's neither here nor there. This is real life we're talking about. The proof is clearly shown in the two photographs. That's right, Mr. Edgeworth. No matter how inexplicable. Fine, I'll entertain your absurd delusion. If only to demolish it before your very eyes. What? Let's start with this then, shall we? There's one thing your time travel theory fails to explain. And that is the memories of the other guests there. Fandom and Larry will remember the reception occurring twice, but no member of the Sprocket family has ever mentioned such a thing. That's because the time machine... It's because the time machine is classified technology. I'm not done, you bird brain. Bird brain? As I was saying, if the entire family had been sworn to the secrecy, then why hadn't they sworn the woman who was marrying into the family to secrecy too? That's a good point. Honestly, it only takes a little common sense, Mr. Wright. Even still, how do we know the trip through time did not really occur? There's proof in the photos that it did, and besides, if time travel doesn't exist, well, I'd be a little disappointed. Frankly, I was hoping to get to go back to the days of my youth. You must allow yourself to be taken in by Mr. Wright's whimsical tales, Your Honor. I read about it in various literature. You'll see. And they all say that time travel is just not logically feasible. Maybe our argument was just a little too nonsensical. In that case, why don't we put common sense to the test? Excuse me? The wedding reception was held twice. Their photos are proof of that. But it wasn't because of the time travel, it's simply because the reception had actually been held twice. Isn't that the most reasonable way to reinterpret the situation? Would you care to elaborate, Mr. Wright? If time travel doesn't exist, then there's only one way to make sense of what happened. Somebody must have orchestrated this strange phenomenon, and that somebody is everyone at this reception. What if all of the guests at the reception conspired together to hold the reception twice and keep quiet about it? What? For what purpose would they conspire to such a thing? Well, clap, clap, clap. Pre-deduction defense. I can tell that you are not a renowned lawyer for nothing. I must say I underestimated you. How so, Mr. Nikari? Nichori? You have managed to name each event precisely as they happen. You have revealed it all to the light of day. Then that means it was us. We orchestrated the whole thing. Yes, the reception was held twice, but not because of time travel. No, we simply held it in a second time. What? Why? Why would you do such a thing? To make it as though the murder Miss Ellen committed never happened. Master Sawyer figured that if Miss Ellen would kill Bloomsbury after the first reception, experience the same reception one more time, she would think it was all a dream. It was he who ordered us to make it happen. However, only a few, myself included, knew of Miss Ellen's crime. Are you saying most of the guests attended to reception without knowing why? Indeed, they needed no reason. Master Sawyer told me them to do it, and they did. That is the Sprocket way. Then who hit the body in the lantern? We did. But we did not anticipate the pedals finding their way in, and nor the actions of Mr. Boss. That's how you intended to cover the whole situation up? There is just one thing before everyone here has to wrong. The real scheme of the murder was not the hold, it was the Vista deck. What? Then Miss Wyatt's recollection of the events must be correct. I admit we tried to cover this incident up, but the fact that Miss Ellen killed Bloomsbury is undeniable. This is quite a turn of events. And so it appears we have arrived at the truth at last. Now. Please do feel free to travel back in time, Mr. Wright, and attempt to do this try over again. Go on. Let's not get hasty, Edgeworth. But you can do it. I bet I can either. Your Honor, we will have to hold a separate trial for the cover-up conspiracy later. But as far as this case goes, I believe we are here ready for your ruling.
Objection!
Just before the defendant had lost consciousness during her attack, she says she saw someone strike the victim. It's possible that this third party is the true culprit.
Objection!
You still want us to believe the defendant's words? Perhaps you have lost more than you touched during your time abroad. This third-person nonsense is nothing but a rubbish, and you know it.
Objection!
But by the same token, how can we trust those who have conspired and to lie to this fool court of law? For all we know, they might still be hiding something. You never know when to quit, do you? Now, calm you down, both of you. In any case, isn't enough trustworthy information yet for me to render a verdict. I suggest we continue this the trial after both sides have investigated the matter further. Very well, Your Honor. Whew, that was close. Mr. Nikori, as for you and your cohorts attempt to cover up this crime, your case will be brought to a separate trial following the resolution of this current one. Understood, Your Honor? Well then, this concludes today's trial. Court is adjourned. To be continued. Let me have a bathroom break. Be right back. What? So the whole time traveling thing was just a ruse put on by the guests at the reception? Looks like it. I knew there had to be some kind of trick to it. Wow, 2 wedding receptions? Can you imagine? Wonder how much that must have cost them. I have no idea. But if you have to ask, you're not rich enough to want to know. Still, if you got the money, it's a pretty good way to cover things up if you ask me. You got that right. I'm sure I would have been completely fooled. I am back. Hi Maya. Are you all set to go? Yep, ready when you are. So, what should we start with? Let's start with reviewing what we learned at the trial. But Ellen thought time travel was really just a performance put on by the Sprockets. But other than that, it seems that what Ellen's told us was actually all true. So what really matters right now is the identity of the mystery person Ellen said she saw while she was being attacked. So who is this mystery person? That's the $1,000,000 question, I'm afraid. If we want to clear Ellen up of any suspicion, then figuring out who they are is key. I think I'll take toilets for 200 bucks instead of Mr. Right. At least, there were only so many people on that airship that night. And we know who that mastermind of the whole covered-up plot was too, so that's good. You mean that the groom Sovereign Sprocket, right? Exactly, he might have known something but that could help us out. So then what am I doing here? I'm a very busy man, you know. Well, all of the other people involved are the Sovereign's family members. So I thought I'd better start by interviewing you. Even if I don't probably shouldn't trust a word out of your mouth. Oh man, I have a really tight schedule, but oh heck, what are our friends for, right? Okay, Pat, go ahead, ask me anything. You do remember it was you who came to me for help in the first place, right? Want to go over exactly what happened before I stepped outside this office again? Since you were there, Larry, do you think you could help me get it all straight in my head? Oh, if I gotta. Okay, so the first reception was held at 7 PM on the day of the incident. That's the one you tried to crash, right? Huh? Oh yeah, that's right. And they locked me up in a cabin, it was awful, I tell you. Give me a sec. Alright. They locked me up in a cabin, it was awful, I tell you. Too bad we are not here to focus on you, Larry. And then the incident occurred after the first reception at around 10 PM. I was attacked in the reception hall by the Bloomsbury. He forced her out onto the Vista deck and was just about to kill her. But Ellie fought back and ended up killing all Bloomsbury instead. To cover it up, the family quickly threw together a second reception. That's what Edge is claiming anyway. But I know why Ellie didn't do it. Why they didn't do it? The key point in here is the mystery person Ellen said she saw strike Bloomsbury. Just before that she passed out. Did you see anybody suspicious skulking around that day? Nope, not at all. Because I was locked up in a cabin at the time. But you managed to escape and sneak back into reception hall. It's when you switched the lantern in the event hall with the lantern in the hall, right? Did you see anybody then? Nope, the place was completely deserted. I guess cause that Pierce Butler guy had everybody gathered together somewhere. That makes sense, he must have been going over the cover-up plan with them. So clearly the murder had already happened by the time Larry got out. They must have gotten everything ready fast and had the second reception soon after that. Then after that second reception, Ellie went to clean up the reception hall. And as luck would have it, that's when she found the body in the lantern I brought up. I tried to do something nice for Ellie out of the goodness of my heart, and this happened. still don't know exactly what happened during the actual murder itself. We'll just have to look into it along with the identity of that mystery person. So while the murder was taking place, you were locked up in a cabin. Did you see anything unusual while you were in there? The cabin? Let's see. Well, there was that pterodactyl flying through the sky. That was pretty unusual. Alright, that's showing off that pterodactyl you saw. What's with all the air quotes? I really did see it, I swear. Larry, the time travel thing it never actually happened, which means you couldn't have seen a real pterodactyl flying through the sky. Uh-oh. Are you doubting the eye of a super popular picture book author? No, I'm just sure you saw something else. Mistook that for a flying reptile. Eek, you're making me doubt my own eyes. Now I'm not even sure what I saw. Either way, you have no idea what actually happened at the real scene of the murder. That's right, and I can say that with every confidence. Oh wow, well, did you look at the time? I better go. I have book signing to get to. Book signing? Whose book? Whose do you think? It's mine, of course. It's a Loris Dioxanim book signing. But you went around and begged a bunch of bookstores to let you do one. Oh, of course not. They're the ones coming around to beg me. Looks like I guess right. Anyway, I have to go. I'll send you 10 copies of my new book that just got released the other day. Alright. 10? That's very generous of you. What are you talking about? I'm gonna send you the bill too, of course. Just put them down as an office expense or something. Well, see ya. Wait, Larry, we don't need... he's gone. I'll take a copy, boss. Oh, and make sure it's signed. Oh boy, Jushi's not gonna like this office expense. There goes our first lead. What do you want to tackle next? Right, we should really hit the streets now, huh? I hope Bobby goes see Ellen. Sounds good, boss. I bet I can cheer her up. I thought you were going to help Juicy with her magic show again today, Athena. Were you supposed to go meet her right about now? Juicy said she was going to practice her new trick on you, if I recall. On me? Really? Juicy's show is an important source of income for our agency, you know. You can leave the case to us, so you go ahead and run along now. But boss, off you go, Athena. No, I don't want to die. You better get going too, Maya. Okay. Oh, my poor sweet soul. I wonder how he's getting along without me. Hello, Ellen. Oh, Mr. Wright, what's going to happen with the trial, do you think? Well, first and foremost, we have to hurry up and find this mystery person you saw just before you passed out. Do you think that person could be the real killer? It's quite possible, and if we can prove that, we can clear you of all charges. Actually, Wood, do you happen to know where the Sorin is right now? He's usually busy with meetings all afternoon, but he should be home by evening. Think I better go have a chat with him later then. Why am I being treated to a view of someone's underwear? Underwear? Mr. Wright, don't tell me. You suspect my sweet Sorin? Well, he is the one who masterminded the second reception after the time skip. Poor Athena. But we need the money. So I thought he might be able to tell us something. How could you, Mr. Wright? You can't possibly think my Sorin would never kill anyone. Alright, just calm down. No, not if you're accusing my Sorin. Please, I'm not accusing anybody, so please put the pen and ladder down, alright? Really? Cross my heart. So for now, would you mind if I ask you a few more things about the case? I better be careful not to provoke her. Sorin. Would you tell me about Sorin? There's nothing to tell, he's squeaky clean. Alright, okay. Maybe I should avoid the topic of Sorin right now. Let's talk about something else then. Fine, but you won't hear a peep out of me about Sorin. Talk about pulling teeth. Talk about double personality. I mean, we all have a double personality though, don't we? At home, we act differently than we act at work. Could you tell me about Pierce Nightshade then? Pierce, he came to Sprocket Manor about a year ago. We all are acting. We human beings are all actors. We act all differently around people too. As family butler, he's now in charge of everything in the household. Only a year ago. Did he have some kind of a special connection with the family? I'm just a maid, so I'm not privy to such things, I'm afraid. Might have been Sorin's order, but Pierce is the one who coordinated the whole thing. He's the one who really orchestrated the grand time travel farce. He must have quite a bit of authority in that family. But no matter how good he is at his job, how could anybody gain that much influence in a single year? I really don't know. I mean, he is an excellent butler, wouldn't that explain it? Is it really as simple as that? Pierce. What you thought was time travel was really just a cover-up carried out by your in-laws. Pierce said Sorin was the one who ordered the whole thing. I still can't believe it, even if the second reception was fake. Sorin would never use time travel for something like that. He's very serious about his time machine research, you know. I heard there's a reason he's researching time machines actually. Something about something he wishes he could change. Isn't that the whole idea of traveling back in time itself a little fantastic? I don't think so. They all Sorin said real time travelers do exist. Really? Really now? You think he knows someone who actually traveled through time? That's right. I haven't seen it personally, but Sorin said as much, so I believe it. Somebody who actually traveled through time, huh? It's pretty hard to believe. Thank you, Ellen. You're going out to do your investigation now, aren't you? Yes, that's right. Please make sure you don't cause Sorin any trouble, okay? I'm afraid I can't promise you that. What? Please, whatever you do. Please don't upset my poor Sorin any further. I'm begging you. I'll do my best not to cause him any unnecessary trouble. Oh, I couldn't bear it if Sorin ever came under suspicion. I don't be found guilty myself. Yikes. Ellen, please, don't work yourself up like this. You don't want Sorin to worry, do you? No, you're right. The flute folder is received once more. So what do we do now? Well, Ellen said Sorin is usually in the meetings until the evening, so let's save our house call until then. Why don't we go to the mooring deck and figure out our next move from there? Roger. Mooring deck. Mooring deck. So, where should we start? Let's see, are there any places we haven't examined yet? We already investigated the reception hall and Sprocket Manor. I know, we haven't looked at the Vista deck or the hold yet. Hey, you're right, we still got some pretty important places left to examine, don't we? The Vista deck is the actual scene of the murder, right? And the lantern with the body in it was stored in the hold. Think there's a good chance we'll find some important clues in these locations. Do we know how to get to the hold? Good question. I think it was labeled in that diagram of the airship in this pamphlet. There it is. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go. Hall. This is the halt. This is where Pierce orchestrated the whole cover-up operation. We better go over this place with a fine-tooth comb. Hey, Nick? Weren't we supposed to need a keycard to get in here? Huh, you're right. Wonder why it was unlocked. How's it going, Mr. Wright? Emma? What are you doing here? Still independent investigating for my own sake. Gotta keep the mind sharp. So the security system was turned off for the police investigation. We'd like to investigate the halt ourselves. Would that be alright? Yeah, sure. The police just finished their examination anyway. Thanks, we'll just take a quick look around then. Alright. You should know that the floor doubles as a huge lift. You can use that lever way back there to raise it up to a Vista deck. The police inspected it already, but they didn't find anything of particular interest, it seems. If you do go to Vista deck with the lift, be careful not to fall off. Got it, thanks. That goes double for you, Maya. Yes, ma'am. Well, let's get this show on the road. The incident. Any progress with your investigation? Nothing conclusive yet, I'm afraid. Almost everybody was involved with the cover-up. It's hard to know who or what to believe. I know what you mean. Unless you have someone compelling evidence, I'm afraid it's going to be a tough trial for you. You're telling me. There isn't much time left, so I just got to make do and see what I can turn up. Okay, here are the flowers. These are the flowers we saw in Larry's photo. The petals make them look like little gears. Perfect flower for Sprocket family, huh? Maybe they were going to shower the couple with the petals. You mean kind of like how people throw rice or confetti? Yeah, like that. Only these were found at the scene of a murder instead. Oh, look, it's an airplane. I wonder if Sauron built that one too. Hey, why don't we take it for a spin? Just a quick tour around the neighborhood. And who do you propose is going to pilot that wooden death trap? Me, of course. Who else? Don't worry, I've seen people fly airplanes on TV plenty of times. I think I'll pass. Still got my whole life ahead of me. So there are two male Pekka-Poo and lanterns in the reception hall. That must mean that these two are female Pekka-Cow and lanterns. Larry got their sexes mixed up when he replaced the one in the reception hall, huh? Didn't you see the horns? The difference is pretty glaring if you ask me. Yet he managed to not notice. That's what makes Larry Larry. Larry being Larry's why I'm seen more than my fair share of trouble for a lifetime. Oh, Mr. Wright? You know that lantern the victim was found inside of in the reception hall. I'm just about to go piece it back together so the police can examine it. Oh, okay. We'll stop by for a look too once you're done fixing it. What's that? A wedding bell? According to the pamphlet, it's used on the Vista deck during wedding ceremonies to bless the newlyweds. I guess they say these assembled and stored away here in the hall when it's not being used. Oh, it's a cake. Nick, it's a cake. It's so big they won't miss one little piece, would they? You're not in the mood. If you're not in the mood for mouthful styrofoam, sure, knock yourself out. And it's not real. But it sure fooled me. I'm sorry to have some of that. I'm really craving cake now. Come on, Nick. Let's go get some. Maybe after the trial is over. So this is the airship's engine, huh? It's pretty impressive. It's all rhythmic, like a heartbeat. It's the literal heart of the Flying Chapel. Look at all those huge gears spinning around and around and around and around. I think I'm starting to get dizzy. Yeah, me too. Huh? It looks like there are some fingerprints on this candelabra. Yeah, I just got done dusting that. I was able to pull a set of left hand prints. You know whose prints they are? Yes. The prints belong to the victim, Dumas Bloomsbury. I just figured out something amazing. You did? Get this. The fingerprint on the candelabra were from his left hand. Mr. Doom and Gloom must have been left-handed. What do you think of that? Do I have the makings of a great detective or what? Oh yes, your deductive reasoning skills are nearly encyclopedic. Hey, you're pretty good, Maya. I looked into it myself and sure enough, the victim really was left-handed. Really? I got right. Awesome. Good for you, Maya. Good for you. That's all you got to say? I think you did a really great job, Maya. Way to go. Guess one can never have too much info. Now you're talking. But come think of it, this candelabra is in the photo Larry took off the whole visit. The picture was taken when they were getting ready for the first reception, right? The candelabra must have been brought in here sometime after that then. It's still possible it has something to do with the incident though. I better add it to the test evidence just in case. The left hand, which is his dominant hand. Okay. Oh, by the way, Mr. Wright, you can have this fingerprint pad if you like. You're giving this to us? Sure. I have 4 other sets. Thanks. I feel like there's something more to the candelabra, but I can't put my finger on it. Oh look, there's the lever to the lift Emma told us about. Let's try going up on it. I'll go flip the switch. Here goes nothing. Wait, I'm not even on it yet. Hey, there's plot. Hey Maya, stop the lift. Oops, sorry, I got a little carried away. Never mind that, moved over a little. Okay. Is that blood? Blood, let me see. Could it be Mr. Bloomsbury blood? Well, this lift goes up to Mr. Deck where the murder took place, so I think that's the most logical conclusion. I thought the victim was clubbed to death and there wasn't much blood. Something tells me I better take a picture of this. Lift bloodstain. I should ask Emma about it some more later. Maya, can you bring the lift back down now? Got it. I'll go flip the switch again. There. Done. I want to find out some more about that bloodstain, but for now I guess we should go up to the Vista Deck. Take a look around the actual crime scene for ourselves. The view must be great from up there. I bet it'll be awesome. You mean it would be if it wasn't the scene of the murder? Okay, to the Vista Deck we go. Make sure you actually get on the lift this time. I know. Okay, I'll just flip the switch again and away we go. Wow, look at the gorgeous view. This is where Ellen was attacked and Mr. Bloomsbury was killed. Yeesh, one wrong step and it scares blood on the ground below. Should we go investigate the stuff that's a little closer to the edge? Well, I don't see much of anything over here. The police investigation didn't turn up any clues either, so maybe we don't need to. Oh, I get it. You're scared, aren't you, Nick? Oh, of course not. Come on, let's go back down and finish checking out the hold. Okay. Emma, about this bloodstain, doesn't something about it strike you as odd? What is so odd about the victim's blood? That's not exactly, there's just something about it that bothers me. Now that you mention it. Can't say I necessarily disagree with you. Maybe I should talk about this some more with her. Candelabra. Emma, can we check out this candelabra a little more? A little more? What are you... Oops. What happened? I almost dropped the candelabra and the candle slipped off. Hey, well, let's be careful with that. It might be important evidence. Wait a minute. Now what? One of the pins that hold the candles is broken. What? There's definitely something fishy about this candelabra. There is? What makes you say that? Calling the forensics investigators' intuition. We already tested this for brains earlier, so let's test it with Lumino this time. Knowing Emma, she can use every test she has at the same time if she could. Just hang on, this will only take a second. I hope this turns up a new lead somehow. Well, Emma, did you find anything? Take a look at this, Mr. Wright. Ooh, what is all this blood doing on there? There's a blood we found on it. Maybe somebody got hurt while they were setting up for the reception. These pins are pretty sharp, but if one of them pins is broken, it means there was some force involved. Do you think maybe somebody got stabbed? But nobody reported anything like that. It's got a bit of blood. Wonder whose it is. If I had anything that might shed some light on that, I should probably show it to Emma. About this bloodstain, what about it? There's something about it that's been bothering me. Oh yeah? What's that? Well, there's a huge bloodstain on the crime scene lift in the bloodstained candelabra. Now, this is only a guess, but I'm thinking maybe these two bloodstains are from the same source. Think of maybe these two bloodstains are from the same source. I guess that is a possibility. Can we compare the two bloodstains? Would that take a lot of time? You kidding? Don't underestimate the power of science. It'll be done in a jiffy. And the results are in. That didn't take long now, did it? Seems that the blood from the lift and candelabra are from the same person. Same person, huh? Well, the victim was clapped to death, and there wasn't all that much blood. But if this is Mr. Gloomsbury's blood, well, this is just a guess. But what if Mr. Gloomsbury stabbed somebody with the candelabra pin? That would explain both the huge blood stain on the lift and the blood on the candelabra. Oh my goodness, if that's true, that means there was somebody else present at the scene of the murder. Doesn't it? This just might substantiate Ellen's statement about a third person. Emma, could you have this blood analyzed? Sure thing. A mysterious blood stain on a candelabra with the victim's print on it. Just might be the thing to back up Ellen's memory of seeing the third person. Next up, the reception hall. Might be worth taking another look around in there. Reception hall, the forensics team is in there investigating right now. Oh, here they are. Well, we don't have much time to just sit around, so let's go check out something else. Good idea. We could go question some people. Especially Sorin, I have quite a few questions about that guy. Sounds good. Have to do some legwork then? Yup, I thought we'd head to Sorin's house for starters. I was accompanying the police on their investigation here earlier, but it's probably home by now. Great, thanks. Later, Emma. Foyer. You think Sorin's the culprit? I don't think Sorin's the culprit. I don't think he's the culprit. I still can't get over how the coach's Sprocket manner is. I think it's the butler. Just don't touch anything. I wasn't going to. She was definitely going to. Was told if I had guests. Thank you for seeing us, Sorin. We know you're busy. We'd like to ask you a few questions about the case, if you wouldn't mind. Sorin? You're Ellen's lawyer, right? Huh? Yes, that's right. Don't tell me he doesn't remember me. Will Ellen be found guilty? We're doing everything we can to prevent that. That's why we were here investigating. Will you please tell us what you know? Sorry? Alright, fine. What was that post all about? The cover-up. It was you who gave the order from that large-scale cover-up plan, isn't that right? What large-scale cover-up? Don't play dumb with us. You had 2 wedding receptions in order to try and cover up Mr. Gloomsbury's murder. Ellen thought that through the power of the timekeeper you built, she traveled back in time. Oh, so that's why there were 2 receptions. Wait, does he seriously not know it? What? The reception was held to us? Looks like I'll have to delve deeper here. To the covered-up scheme, that fake trip through time. You're not the one who was behind it all. Pierce Nicholas stated in court that you were the one who ordered it to be carried out. Pierce said that. I see. I leave him in charge of everything around here. He's either guilty, either dumb, either both. I don't think he's dumb either. He's just depressed. He lost his sister, I think. But I don't think he's guilty. And he's the guy, you know, who's building this machine. He's the one who keeps building for Sprocket. So I take it that you didn't know anything about the cover-up? That's not only your business. You were in 2 wedding receptions in a row. Still, you claim to know nothing? I have nothing more to say to you. Please leave. But Sorin... Ow. Oh, there's something written on this paper of the airplane. Let's see. Go away. Doesn't get clearer than that, huh? He's looking especially uncooperative, but maybe I can grab his attention somehow. There's still that one piece of evidence I don't know much about. It's worth a try. One piece of evidence. No side lock. Should we try this? Sorin, have you ever seen this before? That's... Sorin, what is it? Nothing. Why did his whole demeanor change all of a sudden? Is it from... No... Oh, the clock! It's the same clock! I see. That watch there. I see. Is Campbell as a ghost too? Oh, and he... Sorin! Nick! Look at his stomach! He's bleeding! Somebody help! Sorin's collapsed! Master Sorin! Get him to the hospital, quickly now! He's bleeding. Damn. Poor Sorin, that must be one serious wound. Sora stab. So Sora stab. I think that, yeah. I think that this is the one which stabbed him for sure. Well, when I shot him the Kanda Rapla, his whole demeanor changed. So I was just thinking that maybe his injury is... Huh? What's this? It's Sorin's notebook? Must have dropped it in the rush to get him to the hospital. Oh, his notebook, huh? Wonder what's written in it, don't you? Come on, you know you want to take a peek. Sorin's notebook, what to do, take a peek. I feel guilty for snooping around in somebody's personal notebook, but... Nobody was Sorin. I still don't believe he's the killer. I still don't believe it. Maybe we should take a little look-see. Take a big peek-a-boo. Whoa, it's filled with big words written in tiny letters. I guess he uses this notebook to write down his invention ideas. Huh? What is it? Did you find something? After March 8th of last year, the content of this notebook changed dramatically. Like how? Well, ever since that date, Sorin's been writing down every detail of his life, as in every. Maybe he decided to start keeping a diary. This is way too detailed to be an ordinary diary. Either he's really compulsive, maybe just plain forgetful. But is it really as simple as that? I feel like something happened on March 8th that made Sorin change. Well, why don't you let me take a look at that and I'll tell you. Hey Maya, let go or we'll rip it. Now look what you did. You dropped it. You should just let me take a look. How is this my fault? Oh no. Oh, it fell into that pool of Sorin's blood. Can't read a thing on these two baby just now. Uh-oh, you're gonna get it now. This really is my fault after all. Just put it away carefully for now. Can't let anything else happen to it, you know, here. Well. Ah, hey, look, there's something sticking out of the notebook. Until March 8th. It looks like a newspaper article. Let's see, it's about the car accident Sorin's sister died in. It happened on March 8th. Yup. That's the day Sorin's notebook completely changed. Oh, wow. What else does it say? It says the driver at the time of the accident was Dumas Gloomsbury. It says Sorin was in the car too and that he had sustained severe injuries. Just like Pierre said, Sorin completely changed after that accident. I already know who the commander is. It's the fucking butler, man. The butler. Pierce Nicori. He seems to be unusually attached to the pocket watch he carries around. And the watch he carries around is the sister's. So I think it's the. I think the butler is the boyfriend. Is the boyfriend. The watch is right there. So Gloomsbury was driving the car when they got into the accident. That opens up the distinct possibility of Sorin holding a grudge against Gloomsbury. No. It is the butler, Pierce, holding a grudge. You think so? Sorin could have. I don't know. It's not like I have any proof. Should talk to Pierce about this when we return to Soren's notebook to him. Though he doesn't seem to be here right now. Maybe he's at the Flying Chapel. Flying Chapel? Soren was also in the car. It suffers severe injuries. Gloomsbury had been the one driving. Sure hope Pierce is around here somewhere. Ah, Mr. White and Miss Faye. Hello, Pierce. We were just looking for you. Sorry for Master Soren's sudden departure earlier. You have my sincerest apologies. Is that totally understandable, really? But shouldn't you be at this site right now? It's fine. The other servants are with him. And I am in a constant contact with them. Do not forget to give him his pain medication and be sure to keep him hydrated. Also see to it that he's not up and about. He needs complete bed rest. This is what happens when you're too rich for normal peasant phones. I must return to Master Soren now, but... Do you want to something of me? Actually, here's Soren's notebook. Dropped it when he collapsed. I hope Pierce doesn't notice the blood stain. Oh, thank you very much of this. We see to it personally that Master Soren gets it back. Thank you. I trust you did not look inside. Of course not. Because it is filled with numerous patent-worthy ideas, you see. Look, I know you're busy, but would you mind if I ask you a few questions about the case? See? See that? The watch right there? Very, very... It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. It's the same. He is the key. Well, as I said, I must be getting back to Master Soren. He wants the revenge. If you could make it quick, I would greatly appreciate it. Alright, I'll make this as quick as I can. I'd like to ask you about the cover-up you tried to pull off, if you don't mind. I told everything there is to tell in court already. Disposing of anything that may harm the Sprocket family's reputation. Simply a part of my job. Sounds like a lovely job description. I have nothing more to say on the matter. I will say I do not think it's wise to spend time on topics that have already been discussed. Right. The accident. Pierce, could you tell us some more about this accident? Where did you find that? Did I not already tell you about that accident? You did, but you conveniently left out one crucial detail. The fact that Rumas Gloomsbury was driving the car at the time. Oh, did I not mention that? I suppose it simply did not come up then. Mr. Gloomsbury caused the accident. Why didn't the Sprocket family fire him? Wouldn't that usually be the natural consequence of such a huge mistake? Please don't misunderstand. Gloomsbury stayed on with the family. On Master Soren's request. What? That is the type of person Master Soren is. Perhaps it was the influence of Miss Selina's kind nature. She was such a sweet person that even in her last moments she thought of Master Soren. Not only did Soren not hold a grudge against Gloomsbury, he insisted on keeping him on. Now I really don't understand how that guy's mind works. So you were the present for Selina Sprocket's last moments? Yes, in my professional capacity. The accident happened on the way to a certain party. And what kind of party was it? Was Miss Selina's engagement party? Gloomsbury's injuries were minor, but Miss Selina's and Master Soren's were critical. You think about something maybe dumb. Don't tell me though! Don't tell me! Keep that mind to yourself! They were brought to the Sprocket family's regular hospital. Wow, to have such a terrible thing happen on what was to be a day of celebration. Dude, material is great. Give me something. It's okay. It's okay. I don't want to hear it. No spoilers. Nothing. Thanks to Surgeon in Charge, Master Soren pulled through. But Miss Selina, even though it might not be spoiler, but either way, no thank you. Last words Miss Selina said to me were... The spoiler, either way, no thank you, no thank you. Please help Sorin. Ever since then, I have attended Master Sorin and tried to help him in any way I can. I see. Selena's fiance must have been devastated. Indeed. The shock of losing Miss Selena was so great he quit being a surgeon. He was a surgeon? Wait, so the surgeon who tried to save them both was he? Yes, he was Miss Selena's fiance. What a terrible tragedy. How awful. Hey, you're leaving something out, Pierce. I think you are the surgery, aren't you? He could be the surgeon. You have to watch, man. Good question. I wonder that sometimes myself. Selena had a fiance. You want a fiance, dude? I'd like to find out more about him, but I don't have I'll find him anytime soon. So, are we done here? I'm afraid I must be going. Could you please just tell me a little more about Sorin? There is nothing more to tell. I don't seem to get any real answers out of him just by asking him questions, but there's that piece of evidence I still don't know much about. Maybe he'll be able to tell me something about it. This one again? P.S. Have you ever seen this candelabra before? No, I don't know anything about it. Ha ha ha, you liar. You liar. Mamakatama reacted. Pierce must be trying to hide something from me. I have to break those cyclocks and find out what. 3 of them, huh?
Take that!
Let's break this cyclock. Dun dun dun. Pierce, you're hiding something from me about this candelabra, aren't you? It is one of the candelabras from the Flying Chapel, is it not? Is there something special about it? Actually, yes, there's some blood on it, you see. I think the blood might belong to this person. Sorin's sprocket, for sure. Sorin has a rather nasty wound on his body, doesn't he? 1! Yes, Master Sorin is indeed injured. Are any of the other people involved with this case injured? Not as far as I know. I see, then let me ask you this, Pierce. Do you suppose Sorin could have been more directly involved than you're letting on? What in the world would you make you think that? Well, I got my reasons. Mr. Gloomsbury fingerprints were found on this candelabra stem, which leads me to believe that Mr. Gloomsbury stabbed Sorin with it. Can I possibly think Master Sorin is the one responsible for the murder? I don't have any conclusive evidence of that at the moment, but I do think he had a motive. This proves that Sorin had a motive to kill Mr. Gloomsbury. Probably this. Even though it was an accident, Mr. Gloomsbury was the man responsible for taking Sorin's sister away. Let us suppose that Gloomsbury did stab Master Sorin with the candelabra, and you prove that it had anything to do with this case. He might have been stabbed at some other location for some other reason. Sorry, but I can prove it was related to this case. Oh, really? Sorin's stabbing and Mr. Gloomsbury's death are definitely connected, are they now? This is the piece of evidence that ties Sorin's injury to Mr. Gloomsbury's murder. Gotta be this one.
Take that!
A blood stain was found on the side of the lift that goes between the hold and Vista deck. Its blood matches its blood that's on the candelabra. I obtained the results straight from the police, so I can assure you this information is correct. Easy psychlock. This blood stain on the lift indicates an important fact. Shows us that Sorin was there during the crime. Sorin's blood is on the lift, which can only mean one thing. He was there, wasn't he? Sorin was at the scene of the crime. The one from GFA, and the TT were much harder. Trials and tribulation. Justice for all. You are very obstinate, Mr. Wright. It appears I cannot hide this from you any longer. Very well, I will tell you everything. Unlock successful. Pierce's secret. Oh fuck, that's the wrong one. pressed the wrong one. You'll watch this again. Right? I pressed the wrong one. Yeah. This butler is very composed. Could you tell me about Soren's injury? Very well. This is what I heard directly from Master Soren himself. As you surmised, Master Soren was stabbed by Gloomsbury on the day of the murder. It happened after the first wedding's reception. The happy couple was in the reception hall when suddenly Gloomsbury appeared. He attacked Miss Ellen and tried to take her away. Master Soren went to stop him and found himself in a struggle with Gloomsbury. That is when Master Soren was stabbed with the candelabra, he said. Even though Master Soren was badly injured, he went after Gloomsbury. So Soren really was at the scene of the murder, wasn't he? Yes, that is correct. However, by the time Master Soren arrived at the scene, Gloomsbury had already been murdered. Superiors is saying that the Soren was at this crime scene, but that he didn't have anything to do with the murder itself. And still, why did you try to keep such an important piece of information from me? Even if Ellen killed Gloomsbury, it's a legitimate defense now. But the thing is, where's the autopsy report? That Gloomsbury head shows signs of being hit twice. So if you know, it doesn't work like that, you know. If she hit once, that would work, you know, defense. But if she hit twice, that's not, you know, not acceptable. But she's not the killer, we know that. I'm very sorry. My sorry injuries at Gloomsbury murder were not directly related. So I decided to not to mention it so as to not unnecessarily complicate the investigation. And the first hit was not enough to save her alive. And the thing is, if you protect yourself, you know, if you attack once, but I think the report said too about the for a strong blow to the head. But we found out about the she hit twice. But she didn't hit twice though. She didn't hit another roll that then. But you know, at first it was only hit once. Then in the trial it was found out that the guy was hit twice. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I really must go now. Please excuse me. Thank you for your time. You should have just told us everything in the first place and save us a lot of time. Yeah, but I guess it isn't that simple for him. He's the family butler after all. Shouldn't make our job any easier though, did he? At least we've learned something new. Soren was at the scene of the crime. That's true. One step forward is better than none. So what next? Let's see. The forensic team might be done investigating the reception hall by now. Let's go check it out. Sounds like a plan. Reception hall. Looks like the police are done with the investigation in here. I wonder if it's okay for us to take a look around now. Oh, hi, Mr. Wright. Hi, Emma. Will it be alright if we investigate in this room now? Sure, the police are all done, so go for it. I remember that broken lantern I restored is to perfection. I have to say it's some of my best work. Sounds like the repair job was resounding success. Thanks, Emma. We'll take a good look at it too. Well, I have to be getting back to the station. Try not to mess up the crime scene if you can help it. You be careful. I'll be seeing you. Bye, Emma, and thank you. Oh, should we get started? Alright. Oh. Not resting, there's little maid cleaning. She's cleaning the window though. This is where the murder weapon, the timekeeper, was displayed. It is in police custody now. Huh? What's this? A key? Let's ask the maid about it. Good idea, she might be able to tell us something. Excuse me, could I ask you a question? Oh, of course. What would you like to know? A key to her heart. Beautiful. Do you know anything about this key? the key that starts up the timekeeper? A startup key. That's right. Oh. The first startup of the love ceremony was so beautiful. The bride and groom each had a symbol of their love, and when they put them together, oh, how romantic it was. First startup of the love ceremony. Exactly that entail. Oh, it's a ceremony in which the couple activate the timekeeper together for the first time. I suppose it was kind of like a cake cutting ceremony. And what are the symbols of their love you mentioned? Well, that's kind of an industry secret, so I can't really say. I'm sorry, I better be getting back to my work. Looks like there's an order from above not to talk about it. It's another beautiful day outside, isn't it? Yeah, if only it wasn't the scene of the murder, we could really enjoy it. True. Must be tough for the maids to have to work on a beautiful day like today. Oh, we don't mind. Whoa, I didn't think you could hear me way over here. We don't think of it as simply cleaning. It's more like we are wiping away all of the sadness stuck to this airship. Wow, talk about devoted. Devoted. Hey, I think that tape card is new. They must have changed it since yesterday. How can you tell? Because the food stains that were there are now gone. I should have known it's because it's food related. We'll check out everything of the interest in this area. Okay, then let's check that one. What's wrong, Maya? This hasn't moved an inch since the last time we looked at it. Would be pretty creepy if it had. Look, we're in the middle of an important investigation, so try not to shout, okay? Just hoping it had changed somehow, you know, so it would have been more interesting. The last thing we need is for things to get more interesting. Anything? Hey, I will check that. The mate there. Hey, take a look at that door. I wonder where it goes. Should we open it up and see? Wait, please don't open that. It's the emergency escape hatch. It leads directly outside. You'll fall to your death. Whew, that was a close one, huh, Maya? I'll say. Oh, there it is. There it is. Here's the broken lantern all patched up, and I do mean patched. Emma said this was some of her best work, so I know she put a lot of effort into it. So much Chatterton. It was pretty smashed up. It must have been a lot of work, so it pieced back together. Now she gets an A for effort, at any rate. Huh? This wheel handle on the back has some blood on it. It looks like somebody gripped it with a bloody hand. Maybe the blood got there when the killer was putting all doom and gloom spot inside. Do you see anything else worth noting? Well, there's not another one of these lanterns over there. It might be a good idea to really compare the two later. The lantern in which the victim's body was found might be restored, but something about it still seems off. Okay. Excuse me, is the fog machine ready to use now? No, I'm afraid not. We only put dry ice in it when there's an actual reception. I see, that's too bad. She still wants to blast me with a cloud of smoke, doesn't she? Oh, again. It's the unbroken Pekapol lantern. So what's so wrong about this one and that one? This is the one that Emma restored. Wouldn't say they look exactly the same, more than they're made up of the same parts. Wait a minute. What is it, Maya? I think there's something off about this Pekapol. Just about everything about it looks off to me. Not quite sure what it is, but some details isn't quite right. Show me the restored lantern again. Hey, no. It's this, right? Oh, I see it. What? Where? The thing about the restore my lantern that's off is the color of the wheel handle. Different color. Looks, it's the wheel handle. Different color altogether. It's the opposite way. Emma got the inside and outside wheel handle switched around. Oh wow, you're right. And there's blood here on these handles, as if somebody gripped it with a bloody hand. Right, which means that the blood got on the handle from inside the lantern. You think the blood got there when the killer was putting the body in the lantern? It's really hard to say at this point. Whew. Well, I think we have checked out everything relevant to this case. What are you two doing here? Wait, what are you doing here? Sorin? Sorin, should you be resting in bed? You're injured. How do you know about that? Never mind. My notebook. Have you seen my notebook? I can't find it anywhere. My notebook. I need my notebook. What's the matter with him? My notebook. I have to have. Master Sorin. Master Sorin, I told you to stay in bed. My notebook. Here you go. Yes, this is it. So Soren gets emotionally unstable without that notebook of his. There's blood on it. Phew. Looks like he's calmed down now. Sorry, do you mind if I talk to you for a minute? Can't allow you to do that. What if this wound were to open up again? He needs to rest. I guess you're right. Now if you'll excuse us. Master Soren, let us retire. Alright. There they go. Pierce is right. I guess they release in any condition to be questioned. But let's go back to the agency and sort through what we have learned. Agency. Bum 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 bum. You're back. Anybody here? Oh hi, boss. You know this blood? Nope. Looks like. Athena, I thought you were with Trucy. I guess to say that I'm taking a short break. But enough about me. What about the investigation? Did you find anything? Did you find out anything? Well, it turns out that the third person Ellen says she saw at the crime scene might have been Soren Sprocket. What? Really? I always thought he seemed suspicious. Thing is, by the time Soren got to the Vista deck, the murder had already occurred apparently. No way, I don't buy that, not for a second. It's a cover-up, I tell you. That's certainly a possibility. And as a lawyer, certainly a possibility I have to pursue, but what? It's your job, right? So pursue the heck of it, out of it. Heck out of it. Just do it. Yeah, but is that really what's best for Ellen? Soren could be found guilty if the truth comes out tomorrow. But if we don't pursue this possibility, Ellen could be found guilty instead. Oh man. Either way, it sure doesn't spell out happily ever after for the two of them. So what are you gonna do, Mr. Wright? Can't let an innocent person get convicted. So I guess all I can really do is pursue the truth. Even if it ends up devastating Ellen. What a tough call to make. Still, there's always a chance, right? Maybe something will come up during the trial that will save their marriage. I hope so, I really do. Well, Maya, let's go. Break the news to Ellen, you mean? Yup. Mr. Wright, please take me with you. I bet I could help you counsel Ellen through this piece of bad news. Athena, I appreciate the offer, but don't you have somewhere else to be? Do I? Athena, what are you doing here? I've been looking all over for you. Come on now, let's get back to practicing. No, wait. My body can't take it anymore. Boss, you gotta help me. A lawyer always keeps their promises, Athena. But boss, if you bail on me one more time, Athena, I'm going to use a real blade. I'm going to use a real blade on you. Sorry, Athena, but somebody's gotta do it. Better you than me, though. Hang in there, kiddo. Come on, Maya. We better get going. I think that's throw under the bus. Under the bus? Under the rock? Hello, Ellen. How did your investigation go, Mr. Wright? Before I answer that, I need to ask you something. I was starting with you when Mr. Bloomsbury attacked you in the reception hall. I'm sorry I kept it from you. I was afraid that he'd come up under suspicion if I told you. So I kept quiet about it. I'm really sorry. I see. I thought it was probably something like that. Listen, Ellen, I'm afraid I had to make a very difficult decision based on what I found out. What kind of decision? This is very hard for me to say, but the mysterious person you saw at the scene of the crime was most likely Sorin. What? In other words, in court tomorrow. But don't you see, if I don't try to pursue that line of thought, you'll be found guilty. No, no. No! Please, Ellen, calm down. Wow! Son just can't be found guilty. I'd much rather I be found guilty instead. Ellen, you can't let yourself think like that. But, no! Marriage is for life, right? Do you really think you can run away from the truth and still be truly happy with him? You're not married, so how can you possibly understand? Sometimes you gotta do whatever it takes to make things work. But you talk to her. Hey, don't just dump this all on me. Mr. Wright, I'm innocent. I'm sorry too. So please, prove our innocence in court. I'll certainly do everything in my power. Just hope she doesn't lose control like this in court tomorrow. To be continued. She's head over heels for him. Well, they're husband and wife to be. So the one thing we found out yesterday is that Sorin was there at the crime scene. I really hope I can get some testimony from him that'll get to the heart of the matter. Mr. Wright? Good morning, Ellen. Look, I'm afraid you might not like the result of today's trial. Then you can remove the to-be, they did the wedding. But apparently, if she is found guilty, they're gonna cut the ties out of, from her. Ding. Nevertheless, don't tell me you're still thinking of going that route. The in-laws don't want her now. Sorin is innocent. He can be found guilty. Take me instead. Ellen, please, try and get a hold of yourself. I believe in Sorin with all my heart. So how dare you doubt him? Regardless of which one of them is found guilty today, it's going to be devastating for Ellen, is indeed. We'll just have to do everything we can. That's the best we can do, The trial is about to begin, Mr. Wright. Alright, let's go, Maya. Yeah. Court is now in session. Court is back in session for the trial of Ellen Wyatt. Defense is ready, Your Honor. Prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Let's see now where were we? In this last session, we found out about the Sprocket family's conspiracy to cover up the murder of Dumas Bloomsbury with the second reception. Taking advantage of our collective shock, the defense, as usual, made a nonsensical claim. Namely, that there was a third person present who struck the victim.
Objection!
Hey, don't try to make it sound like I made it all up. The defendant herself made a statement about the existence of a third person. Further investigation has only proven her statement to be true. And I presume the defense intends to focus on proving the identity of this third person. Is that alright with you, Mr. Edgeworth? Indeed, Your Honor. In fact, I predict that the defense will most likely attempt to name Mr. Soren Sprocket as the true culprit. How did you... The driver during the accident that killed Mr. Sprocket's sister was the victim. Therefore, Mr. Sprocket had a motive to murder Mr. Gloomsbury. That's what you plan to assert, is it not, Mr. Wright? Am I that transparent? Come now, Mr. Wright. Did you really think the police would uncover this information? Congratulations on getting it on one, Mr. Edgeworth. What? You're wrong, Soren didn't do it. He's innocent. Miss Wyatt, please. He's innocent, I tell you. What is this, Mr. Wright? I thought your claim about the existence of a third person came from the defendant. I did. This is just a minor hiccup. Did you not discuss your strategy for today with the defendant, Mr. Wright? Starting off on the wrong foot again is seriously cutting into my lifespan. Would appear the defense is in disarray. Therefore, the best way to clear things up is to ask Mr. Sprocket himself what happened. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call Soren Sprocket to the stand. What? Very well. Bailiff, please bring Mr. Sprocket to the witness stand. Okay. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Ow! There's something written on this paper player plane. Let's see. Soren Sprocket, managing a director of Sprocket Aviation. Mr. Sprocket, please give your answer in words, not paper airplanes. Now then, Mr. Sprocket, please tell that doubting lawyer there what really happened at the time of the crime. Well, Mr. Sprocket. Mr. Sprocket! Alright. Yeah. You want me to talk about what happened when the crime occurred? In other words, after the first wedding reception. Before we go do that, let me check all one more time. All the evidence we got. Gonna go through all of them. Oh yeah, we got this. And her when convenient, right? Okay, we got that, we got that, we got this. Halt entry. Dumas, Pierce, Ellen White, okay. And then we got the candelabra lift and the key, heart-shaped key used to talk with the timekeeper. Alright. Ellen and I were in this reception hall, right? Not even the power of the court can stop him from marching to beat of his own drum. What Soren remembers? I was stabbed by Dumas in his reception hall and I collapsed to the floor. Next thing I saw was Ellen and Dumas on the Vista deck. I knew Ellen was in danger, so I headed for the Vista deck. But when I got there, Dumas was already what? I don't want to believe it, but it must have been Ellen. Nothing else makes sense. Aye. Wait just a minute here. You actually think Miss White killed the victim? That's right. Dumas was killed by Ellen. This is unbelievable. How can you suspect your bride, the woman you love?
Objection!
The truth can be cruel. Miss Wyatt, you must be very upset. Is there anything you wish to say? No, I can't believe this. Soren. Soren! Are Wendy Oldback level of Edgeworth? Wendy Oldback? Wendy! I thought at least you would believe in me. The best way now to show your love for your groom is to admit your guilt and try to atone. Soren.
Hold it!
Mr. Edgeworth, I haven't even cross-examined the witness yet. And quit picking on the clearly distraught. Yeah, that's so not cool, Mr. Edgeworth. A court is where we seek the truth. And the truth is unyielding even though it's truly beautiful. Mr. Edgeworth, I find it distasteful to make a lady cry. it too, Your Honor. So what are you going to do? The third person Ellen saw on the Vista deck was Sorin. Then we have to prove Sorin was there at the time of the murder. I don't see any obvious inconsistencies in his testimony, but we have to push forward. Okay, something before that. Where was it? Let me try. Yeah, Dumas was already.
Hold it!
Are you substantially sure, Mr. Sprocket, that by the time you got to the Vista deck, the murder had already been committed? Yes. It's lying. The Vista deck is just on the other side of the glass windows in the reception hall. Shouldn't you have been able to get there right away?
Objection!
Mr. Wright, have you investigated nothing? The only way to the Vista deck is to go to the hold and take the lift. No matter how much one hurries, it would take at least 10 minutes. But that's unhelpful. So we had to have gotten there before the murder of or my claim would stand. Do you have any ideas for me, Maya? It's definitely easier to prove that someone did go to the hold than not. I mean, you can't leave anything if you don't go someplace, right? Can't leave anything? Wait a minute. I think Maya is onto something here. The lack of a certain something actually proves that Sorin didn't go to the hold. What's the matter? Are you stumped already? No, I'm far from stumped, Mr. Edgeworth. I know for a fact that Mr. Sprocket didn't go to the hold. You and your paper team bluffs? Mr. Sprocket's bloodstain on the lift proves he went through the hold. What possible proof could you have that he did not in fact go through there? You want proof? You got it. You can do this, Phoenix. There's gotta be proof that Sorin didn't go through the hold. Well, Mr. Wright? This proves that Mr. Sprocket didn't go through the hold. Oh, yeah, hold entry record. There is no Sorin there. There's Pierce Nicody.
Take that!
As anyone can see from the hold entry record, there's absolutely no mention of Sorin Sprocket entering the hold. The defense asserts that Mr. Sprocket used a different route to get to the Vista deck. You can assert all you want, Mr. Wright. But can you actually prove another route exists? Can I prove the existence of another route to the Vista deck, you ask? I can, maybe. I don't know. I can prove it. And maybe it's just a bluff. I have to present something. Anything that could prove the existence of a faster route to the Vista deck. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Show us how the Sprocket got to the Vista deck. Deck through here. This one? Maybe?
Take that!
To save his pride from danger, Mr. Sprocket opened the escape hatch and made his way alongside the outside wall to the Vista deck. Isn't that right, Mr. Sprocket? My man. That would certainly be a much faster route to the Vista deck.
Objection!
I'm disappointed, Mr. Wright. Is that really the best you could master? That escape hatch not meant to be used to get from the reception hall to the Vista deck. One slip and that's all it would take for Mr. Sprocket to plunge to his death. I have to agree, the defense's claim is really stretching it.
Hold it!
Understand how it sounds, Your Honor? But at this point, it's too early to definitively say that he didn't go that way. So that's what you're going with then, I take it. Of course, Your Honor, this is real life, Mr. Wright, not some cinematic trivial or comic book. Do you have some sort of logical explanation to share that would convince us of your claim? I do. Are you sure? Kind of. Actually, I have nothing, so I'll just have to wing it somehow. On what do you base your theory that Mr. Sprocket made his way along the outside? My theory that he was able to go along the outside wall despite the danger is based on the power of love, the power of money. It's love, right? To save the bride he loves, the groom risked his life and rushed to her side. Mr. Sprocket was able to make it to the Vista deck despite the danger. Because of the power of love! The power of love? That love is a source of strength that can help one overcome any obstacle. I think I can relate, thanks to my own long, happy marriage. Wow, he actually seems to be buying it.
Objection!
The power of love, you say? That kind of illogical argument is hardly viable in a court of law. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? I'm afraid not, Mr. Edgeworth. You should never underestimate the power of love. You understand one day when you get mad. Which I won't! Exactly what is so wrong with this, with wishing to remain unwed? Wait to set him up, Your Honor. Never mind all this unscientific nonsense. Are you aware, Mr. Wright, that at the time of the crime, poor Edgeworth, there was a huge propeller turning at full speed between the hatch and the Vista deck. Even if a person were to go outside through the hatch, Mary Francisca, the daughter of the one Karma, they'd be blown away in an instant. Where does your power of love get you now, Mr. Wright? A huge spinning propeller, you say? In that case, I have to admit it does seem impossible. I shouldn't have known. You can't make that kind of face in front of your client. There were times when lawyers have to force the biggest smiles, right? Right. I feel like I just saw Mia looking out at me through Maya's eyes. Oh, what's wrong? Why are you gaping at me like a giant sunfish? Thank you, Maya. You just helped me remember something really important. There it is. There's that fearless smile I was looking for. Now give us a mind-blowing theory, just like you always do. I have to turn my thinking around. Instead of wondering how Soren could have moved past that huge propeller, I have to think about what would have made it possible for him to do so. Your Honor, Mr. Wright only makes that ridiculous face when his back is pressed against the wall. Therefore, please do hurry and give your ruling before... Mr. Edgeworth, still far too early to discount my theory. What are you talking about? The airship's large spinning propellers have already shredded into pieces. But if we think of a little more outside the box, I'm sure we can find a way he could have made it. Stop trying to stall, Mr. Wright, and show us how it could have been remotely possible, if at all. I must agree with Mr. Edgeworth. Very well, Your Honor. There must have been a way, some way that Soren could have moved along the wall in spite of the propeller. Now then, Mr. Wright, what specifically would have made possible? This is how it would have been possible for Mr. Sprocket to get to Vista deck. He got to a deck some other way, the airship wasn't flying, the propellers were broken. That's not probably it. Wasn't flying? What allowed Mr. Sprocket to go along the outside wall in spite of the propellers? Is the location of the flying chapel at the time of the crime? The location of the flying chapel? What? But wasn't it flying high in the sky? No, Your Honor, I'm afraid it wasn't. What? Then where was it? At the time of the murder, the airship wasn't flying through the sky, but moored through the ground. What? And if the airship wasn't flying, then that means... the propellers weren't turning. Oh, we're on the right path? In which case... Mr. Sprocket could have got into the Vista deck along the outside wall. Is that right, Mr. Sprocket? I don't remember. Ow, he stabbed himself with his pencil. That's gonna leave a mark.
Objection!
Even if the propellers weren't turning, it would have been far too risky to go that way. But Mr. Edgeworth, you're forgetting about the power of love. Yes, the amazing power of love. Not this again. Very well. For the sake of argument, let's assume this so-called power of love made possible for Mr. Sprocket to move along the outside wall of the airship. Can you prove that the airship was tied to the ground as you claim, Mr. Wright? Well, I don't have any evidence that proves where the airship was at the time. You can prove it, can't you? Maya, can you think of anything we can use to prove it? Can't say I can. Oh wait, didn't somebody see something outside the window at the time of the crime? Yeah, I remember someone saying as much. Do I have a piece of evidence that shows what was outside the airship? Oh, Larry? Yeah, what are you waiting for? This piece of evidence shows what was outside the airship at the time of the crime. Probably it's gotta be the... where's the Larry picture? Larry's drawing.
Take that!
This piece of evidence shows what was outside the airship at the time of the murder. What kind of lousy drawing is that? It's a drawing made by Larry Boss. And what can you prove with that poor attempt at artistry? Larry made this drawing before he switched the lanterns, so it must have been right around when the murder was being committed. Poor Boss. Now if I could direct the court's attention here. Is that a pterodactyl? Does that mean that the airship actually was bent back in time to the Cretaceous period?
Objection!
We already proven that time travel is nothing more than a gimmick, did we not? We did, and I have no intention of blurring it up that argument again, but this drawing shows up as an important piece of information. It shows us that the airship was actually moored on the ground. And what makes you so sure? That's easy. All you have to do is consider who made this drawing. Larry. That's right. It was Mr. Boss, and we both know what he's like. Must have seen something else and mistaken it for pterodactyl. I can't argue with you there. Hey, wait, just one doggone second here. Doggone. What kind of moron do you guys take me for? I saw it with my own eyes. A pterodactyl flew right by my window. By the window, I tell you. I have the sharp eyes of an artist. Don't you believe me? No. Nope. Some friends you guys are. What about the judge? You believe me, right, Your Honor? I'm sorry, but I am afraid you need to leave this courtroom. Bailiff, if you would. Come on, bud, let's go. Why doesn't anybody believe me? Larry. Don't take it personally, Larry. I know you're just being, well, you. Oh, no, there's what Mr. Boss really saw? There's some relation to what was outside the airship at the time of the murder. Yes, Your Honor. At least I think it does. What this pterodactyl release will prove the airship was anchored at the mooring deck. Anyway, if it doesn't, my whole argument is a bust. If you are that confident about it, then please go ahead and tell us what it really was. Yes, Your Honor. Team Phoenix, what could the pterodactyl have actually been? Wait, don't tell me. The broken... Let's take a look at the sign. The sign. It appears to have been broken and then repaired. But what does this sign have to do with the pterodactyl? Look at the map. Please forget to put this part of the sign. The part that broke off and got reattached. What about it? How about if you turn it like this? Oh, that shape! It's the pterodactyl in the drawing! Pterodactyl. What Mr. Boss actually saw was this chunk as it was being blown through the air by wind. What? Nani? On the day of the murder, there was some heavy winds in the area of the mooring dock. But it's hard to imagine that this sign would make it up as high as the airship would fly. Let me have a bathroom break. That means the flying chopper must have been anchored at the mooring deck that night. Is that right, Mr. Sprocket?
Objection!
That's more than enough of this power love nonsense you got, you pop culture junkie. Present all the proof you want, but your argument is based off far too much in conjecture. Why don't we return to reality now? What do you mean too much conjecture? If the airship wasn't flying, that alone doesn't prove it the weakness went along the wall. True, even now it's no more than a possibility. Then how do you propose Mr. Sprocket got to the Vista deck, Mr. Edgeworth? I noticed something as I went over the evidence. Please take a look at this hold entry record. What about it? Don't see Mr. Sprocket is listed on here anywhere. Don't you remember? In yesterday's session, we had a very similar kind of argument. Did we? Honestly, Mr. Wright, are you going to already? We talk about Larry Boss using the defendant's key card to enter the hold. Oh, we did talk about that, didn't we? In other words, even if a person's name isn't on the entry record, it's still possible for that person to have entered by using someone else's card. Mr. Sprocket, you entered the hold with the Mr. Nichati, didn't you? I did. What? Why didn't you tell us that in the first place? Pierce is indispensable. I didn't want to mention him unnecessarily and risk having him wrongly accused. I couldn't do without him. Mr. Sprocket, I asked that you testify in greater detail about your movements that night. The truth. The truth is I went to the Vista deck with Pierce. That's why my name doesn't appear on the hold entry record. I was badly injured from being stabbed, but I was frantic. By the time we reached the scene, it was all over. Well, this doesn't help me one bit. Mr. Sprocket, you have concealed information from us time and time again. Who do you think you are, treating this court of law with such irreverence? Irreverence. That being said, I do appreciate the testimony you gave just now. Thanks to you, we now know why your name doesn't appear on the entry record. Now, there are no more inconsistencies in the witness testimony. That's Mr. Edgeworth for you. He never leaves a loose end dangling. You okay? I wouldn't exactly call it this situation okay. Somehow I'll have to coax the information we need for an opening out of him. If I even can, that is. The truth is I went to Vista deck with Pierce.
Hold it!
You didn't mention this because you didn't want Mr. Nichati to fall under suspicion. Is that because he has something to hide? You just didn't want the police to take up his time with all their questions, that's all. Neither the company nor the household would function smoothly without him. I see. Wow, it sounds like Pierce is absolutely indispensable to the Sprockets. Anyway, getting back to your statement. When did you meet up with Mr. Nichati? We met up on my way to the Vista deck. I think Pierce and some of my relatives were on another floor. Pierce heard the commotion and came running to my aid. He could hear the pandemonium all the way up from another floor. Mr. Wright, would you like to current the statement added to witness testimony? Have you had it? Yes, please, Your Honor. Very well. Pierce heard the commotion and he came running. Could you have heard it though? I wonder.
Hold it!
Mr. Nichati come alone. I believe some of his subordinates were with him, but I don't remember exactly how many. You may say there were others, but seeing how they pulled that second reception up, I can't completely trust anything he has to say either. I see, so you, Mr. Nichati, and a few others headed to the Vista deck, is that right? That's right. Your name doesn't appear on the house and the Halt entry record. Because you ended with Mr. Nichari using his key card. That's right. So I guess the Halt entry record doesn't matter as much as we thought. But now that Soren's saying he was with Pierce and a few others, it's pretty tough to refute that statement. What's the matter, Mr. Right Cat? Got your tongue? Did you finally realize there's no point in continuing this trial any longer? Of course not. I wiped the smug look off your face. Mr. Sprocket, please continue with your testimony.
Hold it!
Speaking of your injury, how are you doing now? The knife wound is deep and continues to drop you with pain. Fortunately, my internal organs were spared. But one wrong move could have spelled the end for me there. Even so, I've seen you up and about all over the place since the incident. I'm only following my doctor's orders to perform some daily light exercises. Mr. Wright, would you like to... Wait, okay. Not that it appears especially relevant to me. Have it added, why not? Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to have it added to his testimony. Yeah, I see very well. The knife wound is quite deep and continues to drop with pain. Let me see. The knife wound...
Objection!
Miss Brackett, you just said your injury is a knife wound, didn't you? But the weapon you were stabbed with was this candelabra. Candelabra, a fact I know you're quite aware of. Very well.
Objection!
It must have been a simple memory slip that made him misspeak. It happens to everyone. It has nothing to do with this case. You must be pretty desperate to point out something so minute. I have to agree, Mr. Wright. You hardly need to make such a big deal over such a small mistake. But I contend that it's an important inconsistency. Besides, I couldn't find anything else. This is the only thing I have to go after. And I say it's not important. Now let's not waste any more time on this matter. I agree. Everybody has a little memory lapse every now and then.
Hold it!
But, Your Honor, please let me explain. But can you really explain to this court what makes this slip is so important? Yes, I can, Your Honor. After all, it was Soren himself who told Pierce that he had been stabbed by the candelabra. This is more than a simple memory slip. There has to be some kind of reason for it. Well, Mr. Wright, please explain why the witness slip of the tongue is so important. The point to focus on here is why the witness would mistake the weapon used to stab him. Think carefully, Phoenix. This could very well change the course of the trial. I see. So why did the witness make that mistake, Mr. Wright? Mr. Sprocket identified the wrong weapon used against him because... memory? He doesn't remember this incident, let alone the weapon used against him. Not only that, but I believe Mr. Sprocket has some sort of memory disorder. Therefore, the defense contends that Mr. Sprocket's testimony thus far is invalid.
Objection!
Just because you can't find a flaw in his testimony, you want to throw it all out? Your baseless claim is nothing but pure slander of the witness's character. Is that right? Is correct, Mr. Wright. Can you explain your grounds for making this claim? Of course, Your Honor. Think of what Soren has said, now how he's behaved. That's where I'll find a clue. Very well, let's hear your argument then. My grounds for claiming that Mr. Sprocket has a memory disorder is... Oh, his notebook, probably. That's why he writes the, notebook in the he always has with him. I saw daily events and information about the people around him recorded in it. Like a diary, perhaps? No, Your Honor, it's much more detailed to be an ordinary diary. It's more on the order of a database, actually. Database, you say? That's right. For some reason, Mr. Sprocket is apparently unable to retain memories. That's why he writes every little detail of his life down in his notebook.
Objection!
How could you possibly know that for sure? He might just be an extremely compulsive person. I thought so too myself at first. To be honest, we accidentally got a stain on that notebook yesterday. You mean you got a stain on it? Hey, you are the one who tried to grab it out of my...
Objection!
Never mind, whose fault it was. Just get to the point already. Right, sorry. Mr. Sprocket. The page Miss Faye got a stain on yesterday. That's the page with the details of your stabbing on it, isn't it? No, I only write in this notebook because I'm very compulsive. Now drop this subject already. Sorry, but I'm not convinced. I noticed an odd fact about your notebook, Mr. Sprocket. On the earlier pages, you used it to write down the invention ideas, but after on a certain date, you started writing down a lot more and in much more detail. Believe your memory's disorder stems from what happened on that date. Something so monumental it caused a memory disorder, Mr. Wright. You don't know what you're talking about. The accident. Sorry, but I do know what I'm talking about, and this is the proof.
Take that!
You were involved in this car accident too, weren't you, Mr. Sprocket? And the shock of losing your beloved older sister is what caused you to develop your memory disorder. Is this true, Mr. Sprocket? Well, is it? Mr. Sprocket! It's true. That accident did something to my mind. What? Ever since that day, every time I go to sleep, I lose my memories. When I wake up, the most recent thing I can remember is the day I lost my sister. It's as if I'm constantly going back in time. What? That's truly tragic. An inconsolable time traveler who goes back in time whenever he goes to sleep. So that's what Sorry meant. He was talking about himself. The reactions of the people around me each time I wake make me aware of my condition. That's why I decided to write everything down in my notebook so I could move forward. But the only memories you have since that day are the ones written in that notebook. That's right. And since the page about your stabbing got stained, you couldn't read it from it, could you? There's just one more thing I'd like you to clarify for me, Mr. Sprocket. Exactly what are your feelings towards the victim? Mr. Sprocket's feelings towards Thomas Bloomsbury? That's right, Your Honor. The witness said that every time he wakes up from sleep, his mind goes back to the day his sister died. Mr. Wright, you can't mean... Mr. Sprocket! Your pent-up feelings of anger and resentment towards Mr. Bloomsbury for the accident were renewed each and every time you woke, were they not? But you couldn't take it anymore, so you turned to murder, isn't that right? What? Mr. Wright, are you saying that the witness murdered Mr. Bloomsbury? For revenge? Well, Mr. Sprocket? Miss Wyatt. Your Honor, I did it. I killed Mr. Bloomsbury. No. What? She's trying to protect him. Miss Wyatt, what are you trying to do? I guess she really meant it. So, my son didn't do anything wrong. I'm the one who should be convicted. Are we to understand that you're confessing your guilt? No. Now, wait just a minute here. Ellen, why would you cover for me? After I testified that, I thought you must have killed him. I'll admit, I couldn't believe my ears at first. But all I want is for you to be happy. Your happiness is my happiness, Sorin. But without my notebook, I'd even forget those feelings of yours by tomorrow. Knowing that, do you still feel this way? You have loved me all this time. The same way you did before the accident. That's how I know that you are the same person I have always loved. No disorder can change that. Ellen. Your Honor, there are two things I'd like to correct. Two corrections. What are they? First of all, I want to withdraw one of my test statements. That's right. Dumas was killed by Ellen. Oh, here we go. You got memories of to rely on. I took the police completely at their word. You can't be serious. So that means Sorin never really doubted Ellen in the first place, did he, Nick? Ellen really does love Sorin with all her heart. But in order to save her, I'll still have to go after Sorin. I hope you can forgive me, Ellen. And what is your other correction, Mr. Sprocket? The truth is, I never felt anger or resentment towards Dumas about my sister. What? Why not? That's because the one who caused the car accident was me. What? Order in the court. Please continue, Mr. Sprocket. I'm the one who killed my sister. To protect my career and my future, my father made Dumas take the blame. In exchange for money and the position of the lead servant. Oh, shit. So you see, Dumas must have held a grudge against me, not the other way around. And he must have attacked Ellen to get his revenge on me. Are you sure about all of this, Mr. Sprocket? Very sure it's all been written down in detail in my notebook. That notebook is important evidence supplying background to this case. I must insist that you submit it as evidence. The lawyer said I had turned to murder, but that's just not true. The same thing. However, it is true that my older sister and Dumas are both dead because of me and my negligence. Just glanced through Mr. Sprocket's notebook. I wasn't able to read the part about when he was stabbed due to the blood stain, but what's written here about his sister's car accident is exactly as he stated. Your Honor, as long as it matches what's written in that notebook, can we still take the witness's testimony as valid in spite of his memory disorder? Yes, I believe we can. Understand now that the witness memory is in disarray. But if what Mr. Sprocket himself wrote in this notebook is true, then that means by the week time Mr. Sprocket's body reached the scene, the victim had already been killed. Edgeworth's right. I'm still in the same bind as before. But should I really simply accept the contents of the notebook as a substitute for Sorin's memory? Yeah, Mr. Wright, what do you think? Will you accept Mr. Sprocket's notebook as an official representation of his memories? Will you accept notebook? How about I say no, huh? Wait a minute, Your Honor. The defense requests a chance to examine the notebook to see if it's trustworthy. Very well, but be quick about it. Thank you, Your Honor. So how should we examine it? Well, we should look at it from all different angles to see if there's anything suspicious. Okay. There's no point if I don't look at what's inside. I have to open it. With your permission, Sorin, here I go. Yikes. Oh, it's just the page Maya got all stained. I guess it's not going to be very helpful at this moment. I'll keep going. This is the last page where there's written... Oh! Something about this page doesn't sit right with me. Better take a closer look. Huh? A page has been turned out, and it looks like there was something written on it. It looks like page has been turned out here. Mr. Sprocket, do you know what was written on it? Oh, that? I often tear out a page when I write somebody a note. I probably wrote something down for somebody, tore it out, and gave it to them. Oh yeah. That solves that then.
Objection!
Wait a minute. You can't ignore the possibility that something important was written on that page. And now that the page has been torn out, how can we determine what was written there? Well... Let's see, to find out what was written in their notebook, we should hold it up to light. Fingerprint powder? We got the fingerprint powder with us, don't we? Emma gave it to us. Use fingerprint powder on the notebook. You might be able to see what was written. Fingerprint powder, how would that help us find out what was written there? Well, if the writing left indentations on the blank page behind it, fingerprint powder could make those small indentations visible to the naked eye. Oh, stop. Fingerprint powder would only solid the notebook further. Mr. Wright, if you use the powder and still don't find anything, then you must accept the notebook as a representation of the witness's memories. Alright, Your Honor, I understand. If I don't find anything, it's all over anyway. Powder, don't fail me now. I will now use the fingerprint powder on the blank page to find out if we can see what was written on the torn out page. First, attach. Okay. I got this. Put it everywhere. Da. Oh! I struck a killer down. I struck and killed Dumas. Well, that's not good. Well, that's not good. Says I struck and killed Dumas. This is huge. I struck and killed Dumas. That's what was written on the torn out page. What? It can't be. I don't believe it. There has to be some kind of mistake. She was sorry, but never. Could never. Miss Wyatt. Bailey, please get the defendant to the infirmary at once. Apparently, the defendant got too worked up. She's resting in the infirmary as we speak. Nathan, please continue, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. His notebook is all of Mr. Sprocket has to remember things by. With this critical page turned out, not even Mr. Sprocket himself knew the truth of what he had been done. I'm the one who killed Dumas? So it wasn't Ellen? Oh, thank goodness. Mr. Sprocket, does this mean you were at the crime scene during the murder after all? I guess I must have been. But Mr. Sprocket, can we really believe what's written in this notebook? Nobody not touches this notebook but me. When I sleep, it's under the lock and key. I don't remember writing that I killed Dumas, but I guess I must have. Something's not right? Well, now that we have a confession. I still believe it's the butler. I still believe, no matter what it says, I still believe it's the fucking butler. The butler's the one! I blame butler till the end. Pierce it is. I'm afraid I must render my verdict. He's the butler though. He could have ripped it off too, alright? He could have ripped it up and write it himself, right? Easily. He seems to be unusually attached to the pocket. Okay. It's a matter. Butler it is. I will blame the butler until the end. Of all the... Yes, Your Honor. Please give your ruling now while Ellen is asleep. One of the women I love to be set free as soon as possible. Sovereign really does love Ellen after all, doesn't he? Yeah. So this is how it ends? But is that how it really went down? No! Is there really no way for them to both be happy? Come on, Phoenix. Blame the butler somehow. I know we should consider anything written in the notebook to be the truth, but still... I myself wrote of the crime in my notebook. No further proof is necessary. Someone himself wrote it in his notebook. Wait a minute. Very well. I've been announcing my verdict. Ellen is about to be found not guilty, and Soren will be convicted for the crime instead. Yet, I'm not really ready for the judge to give his... No! No, not when there's still one more avenue left to explore. This court finds the defendant, Ellen Wyatt.
Hold it!
Your Honor, there's still something that bothers me about that notebook. Oh, is there? What are you doing, Mr. Wright? All you have to do is keep quiet, and your client's a free woman. And technically, the butler did have a notebook for a while too. You remember, the notebook, we return it to the butler. I know, but I think there might be a more to this case than meets the eye. Not quite sure yet, but I think there still might be a way. A way for Ellen and Soren to be happy. That's right! What do you mean by more than meets the eye, Mr. Wright? I believe the question here, Your Honor, should be, why was the incriminating page thrown out in the first place? Why? To destroy the evidence, I would imagine. But removing it from the notebook is the same as removing it from the Miss Brackett's memory. Which means he wouldn't have been able to trick the police if he came under suspicion. No, if he wanted to cover up his crime, he would have to remember that he had done it. Just what are you getting at with this line of inquiry, Mr. Wright? Yes, please explain so that we can all understand. Yes, Your Honor. The page was thrown out of the notebook because somebody else tore it out. Then, yeah, here we go. Yep, I was right, man. Butler Pierce was thrown out by somebody else. What? Pierce. It is Pierce. It has to be Pierce. I was right from the very beginning. Hopefully, are you claiming that third person interfered with the notebook? Yes. It's not all that surprising if you consider what's happened up until now. After both the car accident and the murder of Dumas Bloomsbury, there was always a cover-up not far behind. But had my notebook with me at all times. Did you? Because I remember you were in a panic yesterday because you couldn't find it. That's true. So who orchestrated this particular cover-up, Mr. Wright? If you think back over the course of the trial, it's pretty easy to guess. The one who may have tried to tamper with the Soren's memory is Pierce!
Take that!
The one who tampered with the notebook in order to manipulate Mr. Sprocket's memory is Pierce Nichotti! Pierce? Pierce tried to tamper with my memories? Pierce was manipulating me? Case in point, the two receptions that were held to cover up the murder was Mr. Nichotti who directed the case and orchestrated the entire scheme. I mean, everything pointed out to Pierce, to be honest. No, it can't be! Which of my memories are mine and which will have been rewritten? When did he start rewriting my memories? Who wrote this? In this? Ah! Okay. Ooh. He literally took off. Oh, what? Look, Nick, he's coming back down. My memories, Ellen. Mr. Sprocket! Bailey, please get Mr. Sprocket to the infirmary on the double. K.O. Alright, now then. Mr. Sprocket has been taken to the infirmary. We don't have to worry about him running away, so let us resume where we left off. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Pierce Nichotti to the stand.
Objection!
We already know he carried out the cover-up to protect the company and Mr. Sprocket. What more do you want from him? This time it's different. The notebook, or rather, Mr. Sprocket's memories have been tampered with. That means the only person who knows the whole truth is now Mr. Nichotti. Don't tell me you're actually trying to drum up a third suspect in order to exonerate the defendant and her groom? I'm not drumming up anything, nor do I have grounds to accuse him or anything yet. All I know is that Mr. Nichari is the only one who knows the truth. And I think he's still hiding something. Something we don't know about yet. No crimes yet, is it? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does this prosecution consent to calling the witness to the stand? It does, Your Honor. However, I would like to have a little time to talk with the witness before we do. Very well. We will break for a 20-minute recess. To be continued. Now we'll have to face Pierce on the stand. I'm not sure if I should be surprised or not. One thing's for sure, he won't be an easy adversary. So, do you think Pierce did it? It's too early to say anything at this point, but I do think he's still hiding something. Dick! Why didn't you pin everything on Sorin Loser back there? Looks like Larry still hasn't given up on Ellen. If this Pierce guy is the real bad guy, then Sorin and my Ellie will live happily ever after together. Larry, that's not the kind of thing a decent human being says. Shame on you, Larry! Oh, boo-hoo. You think I don't know? I know I have to give up on my Ellie. But Nick, promise me you'll make her happy. She deserves a happily ever after. I'm sure Sorin will make her happy once all of this is said and done. The trial is about to resume, Mr. Wright. Alright, you ready, Maya? Yup, let's go. I'll be rooting for you. I'll be rooting for you. Today's court is now in action session. Witness, please take the stand. Please state your name and occupation. My name is Pierce Nichari. I am the Sprocket family butler. Let's get straight to the point, Mr. Nichari. Someone tore out a page from Mr. Sprocket's notebook to manipulate his memories. And that person was you, wasn't it? That is correct. What about it? Well, that was easy. So why did you do it? Why did you tamper with the Mr. Sprocket's notebook? Please allow me to explain. Pains me to do this, but I will tell you the truth. Pains you? That is correct. For my testimony, we will go against Master Sorin's wishes. Sorin's wishes? What is he talking about? Okay, let's see. Let's rush to the Vista deck, but the crime had already been committed. I saw Miss Ellen and Bloomsbury collapse and Master Sorin writing his notebook. Master Sorin said to me, I'll take the blame for the murder, so please take care of Ellen. But I went against his order. I tore the page out of his notebook and hit the body. Wait a second. What Mr. Sprocket was writing in his notebook at the time could be... He tried to pin the crime? Yeah, for sure. Because he is the one, like I said. Like I said from the beginning, it's him. It was meant to be a confession and an admission he killed Bloomsbury himself. He wrote that message to take the blame for him, Miss Wyatt. That is correct. Master Sorin did hit Bloomsbury with the timekeeper to save Miss Ellen. The Mr. Sprocket was the culprit after all. However, that blow did not kill Bloomsbury. That makes sense. Mr. Sprocket's injury wouldn't allow him to put much force into it. In rage, Bloomsbury tried to attack Master Sorin, who was already seriously wounded, but just in the nick of time, Miss Ellen hit Bloomsbury from behind. Finished him off, it would seem. So the one who inflicted the fatal blow was the defendant. Yes, that is correct. But Master Sorin tried to take all of the blame onto himself. No way. This is pretty bad. No kidding, pretty bad is an understatement. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems your decision to call for Mr. Nichari has been backfired. Has backfired? The true culprit behind this case remains the defendant Ellen Wyatt. Could this get any worse? Both Pierce was involved in the cover-up, plot, and I bet he still has something to hide. Okay. Okay, where was it?
Hold it!
You win against yeah, you win yeah, my Stachi, could you please tell Discord about that in more detail? That you say? Which part do you mean, Mr. Wright? Could you be more specific? Oh, alright. What part do I want to know more about? Tearing out the page or the hiding the body? Please tell me more about the hiding of the body. Very well. Let's see, he's lying. After saying he would take the blame as the Sauron passed out, that's when I hit the body. I quickly took the lift down to the hold. There I hit Gloomsbury's still warm body in the spare pickup pool lantern. So it was you hit the body, not the defendant. So think Mr. Boss would move the lantern of containing the body to the reception hall. Well, I did not see that coming. I don't blame you, not even Larry can predict what Larry will do next. Maybe I should take another look at the lantern evidence. Lantern? Oh yeah, yeah. It was, you know, different right. The wheel. It's right. Which After testimony. Yes, please. Very well. And there I hit the steel body.
Objection!
Could be. Is that what happened? If what I'm thinking is true, then maybe I can prove neither Ellen nor Soren did the deed. Mr. Machado, you said the body was still warm when you hit it, correct? So then, what if Mr. Gloomsbury was still alive and you went to put his body inside the lantern? What? What? That's preposterous. Actually, this shows that victim might have still been alive inside the lantern. I'm afraid you'll have to point out which part you're talking about, Mr. Wright. Come on, not that. Maybe. As you can see, the back end of the lantern is a door. There's a plot here on the wheel handle. The bloodstain must have gotten there when the witness put the body inside the lantern. In no way shows that the victim threw his last breath while he was within the lantern. I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth, for you see, in putting this lantern back together, the police inadvertently placed the inside handle on the outside and vice versa. In other words, the wheel handles got swapped. Oh my, so they got swapped? Yes, they got swapped. What? But that's ridiculous. Not at all. If you compare the other male pickup pulling lantern in the reception hall, it's quite obvious the wheel handles were attached backwards. The detective in charge of the restoration will see me in my office later. Sorry, Emma, and good luck. In that case, what does the bloodstain on the wheel handle mean? The bloodstain didn't get there by chance. When the victim was put inside the lantern, he was only unconscious, not dead. When he regained consciousness, he would probably try to get out of the lantern. So he grabbed the inner wheel handle, and that's when the blood got on it. This proves that the victim was still alive when he was inside the lantern. After conscious, it's Emma. At the time, I was completely convinced Gloomsbury was dead. Had I checked more carefully, he might have survived. Unfortunately, to be sure, but not significant enough to change this trial's outcome. Again, I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. It actually had a very significant impact on this case. The victim was struck by the defendant and died from his injuries from some time later. There's nothing more to it.
Objection!
That's where you're wrong. Let's take another look at Mr. Gloomsbury's autopsy report, shall we? Please focus on the description of his injuries. It says one contusion was found on the back of the head and one on the side. Yes, that the one Mr. Sprocket gave him and the one Miss Wyatt delivered to finish him off. Now, the defense would like to submit a different interpretation. The victim was knocked unconscious by the first blow and was then put into a lantern. Then what about the lethal blow by the defendant that the witness talked about? Yes, well, that didn't happen. After some time, When the victim regained consciousness and tried to get out of the lantern, that's when he received the second blow that finished him off. Taking into account the fact the victim was alive for a period after the first hit, and that he did receive a second blow to the head, that seemed entirely possible. Yes, as long as the first blow didn't kill the victim instantly, then there's a possibility that someone other than Mr. Sprocket or Miss White delivered the fatal blow.
Objection!
That's all you got? Even if there was a time lag between the two blows, the prosecution's position doesn't change. What do you mean? It's elementary, Mr. Wright. After the reception, when the defendant was cleaning up the reception hall, the victim who was supposed to be dead suddenly came out of the lantern. The defendant grabbed the murder weapon which was right there and finished him off. That theory sounds awfully familiar. Of course it does, Your Honor, because it's exactly what I proposed at the very start. The second half blow was inflicted by the defendant after all. I see. Seems a tangle by mysteries has unraveled into a single thread.
Objection!
But as long as there's a possibility that the fatal blow was delivered by a third person, then we must continue the deliberations. Keep it up, Mr. Wright. Unless you have something to prove the presence of your precious third person. Okay, just relax, you can do this. Come on now, take some deep breaths. Good idea, deep breaths, deep breaths. There, don't you feel better already? Maya's right, I should calm down, get my focus back and go over everything again. Then hopefully I'll be able to find something to prove there was a third person. Let's see. First why Bloomsbury attacked Ellen because he was tired of taking the blame for the accident. But something about that line of reasoning that just doesn't feel quite right to me. Know how come? Well, if it's just a personal vendetta, he had already stabbed Sorin, so why then was he so determined to go after Ellen? You're right, this whole thing feels too premeditated for a crime of passion. But it says though, it says right there. Look, you know, those dark ones, and her when convenient. End her off when convenient. You know, and when... Bloomsbury didn't have a personal reason to attack Ellen then. Maybe? You have taken it long enough, Mr. Wright. Now it's time for some action. What proof do you have that a third person was involved? Or maybe Pierce Nikoncha, right? Nichodi? Right-handed man. Wait, right-handed person? But we've established that Bloomsbury is the dominant left hand. Okay. Hey, alright, I'll show you. I'm not completely sure what I'm doing yet, but it looks like I'm out of time. This piece of evidence proves the involvement of the third person. Yes, I think I'm on the right path.
Take that!
I get it now. Now I see why this note bothered me so much when I first saw it. It looks like a note outlining the murder plot. Your Honor, please take a look at this note. This is the victim's murder plan, right? And definitely a murder plan, but what if Mr. Bloomsbury didn't write this note himself? What? Yep, I'm on the right path. This is how you intend to conjure up your mysterious third party, Mr. Wright? Can you even prove that the note wasn't even written by the victim? I can. Yes? Yes, I can. Very well, then please present your evidence, Mr. Wright.
Take that!
This is the weapon Mr. Bloomsbury used to stab Mr. Sprocket. I was wondering what you pull out this time. Did I ask what that could possibly have to do with the note? Mr. Bloomsbury's prints were found on this candelabra, and the prints were found from his left hand. So, that makes the victim left-handed, correct? Exactly, Your Honor. The police look into it too and confirm it as much. Now, take a look at the smudge written in this note. Notice how the smudging only starts from the middle of each proceedings line. Had this been written by the lefty, the writing would be smudged from the far left end. This means that whoever wrote this note was definitely a right-handed. In other words, somebody other than the victim wrote this note. What? But if someone other than Mr. Bloomsbury wrote it, then what does this note mean? Mr. Bloomsbury followed this note to the letter when he attacked Miss Wyatt, so clearly this note is a murder plan written by Mr. Bloomsbury, but rather, these are instructions to kill Miss Wyatt and shoot by somebody else.
Objection.
Shoot. If it wasn't the victim who wrote these so-called instructions, then who wrote it? Most of the people involved are right-handed, you know. This guy is correct. The majority of the family and their employees who were on the airship are indeed right-handed. Must say that is a very rough and slipshod conjecture you have proposed. I mean, I haven't figured out who wrote it just yet. Come on, we know who it is. Phoenix, leave it to Mr. Edgeworth to go for the juggler. This culprit who wrote Bloomsbury to attack Ellen. What could their motive have been? Doesn't seem very likely Ellen did anything to incur anybody's wrath, right? Right, not too likely anyway. In that case, it has to be about Sorin. If somebody were to hold a grudge against Sorin, what would it be about? That accident, I guess. I could understand if Bloomsbury felt resentful about having to take the blame. But the one who lost the most to that accident was Sorin's sister. She lost her life after all. Sorin suffered too, of course. He was crushed by losing somebody so precious to him. Somebody precious, huh? Sorin's sister. Wait, there's one more person. There's someone else who must hold a grudge against Sorin. Did you figure something out? The husband! I think so. I think this somebody else used Bloomsbury to try and get revenge against Sorin. Did you say somebody tried to get revenge against Mr. Sprocket, Mr. Wright? The person who manipulated and used Mr. Bloomsbury was Selina's fiance. The person who used Mr. Bloomsbury to try and get revenge on Mr. Sprocket and then finished Mr. Bloomsbury after to silence him was a man dear to Mr. Sprocket's older sister, Selina Sprocket's fiance. Not that I'm not positive, but it's certainly possible his fiance could have made Bloomsbury attack Ellen to get his revenge on Sorin. What? Her fiance? Or in the cart, or did I say? Yes, it does seem quite believable that Miss Selina Sprocket's fiance would bear a grudge against Miss Sprocket for his role in the accident. Exactly, Your Honor. Maybe her fiance was trying to murder Miss Wyatt in order to make Mr. Sprocket experience the same pain he felt.
Objection.
Miss Sprocket's fiance was a surgeon, if memory serves, but the only people who attended the reception were her family and staff members. That may be, but then that just means that Mrs. Sprocket's fiance must have been among those who attended. What? Really? Of course, otherwise how could he have killed Bloomsbury? Oh, I see what you're doing. This is just another giant bluff, isn't it? Alright, I'll bite. Who exactly do you claim this fiancé to be? Yes, I would like to know as well. Are you sure you're gonna be okay? Maybe. When it comes to suspicious people, there's only one person on my list. I need to find something that connects him to Selina. The picture, man. Like, watch.
Take that.
Please take a look at this photo, Your Honor. That photo. Notice Miss Sprocket's pocket watch? Haven't we seen it somewhere before? That's right. Yes, now that you mention it, I do feel as if I have seen it somewhere before. I believe we have all seen it. Right here in this very courtroom. Ugh, impossible. That's right, the pocket watch in this photo. It's the same pocket watch Mr. Nichari has on him right now. What? What? This is clear proof of a strong connection between Pierce Nichari and Selina Sprocket. No. Well, Mr. Nichari, is this true? Mr. Nichari, You were once engaged to Selena Sprocket. That pocket watch, you keep it as a memento of her, don't you? Snichani, you plan to rob Mr. Sprocket of his loved one, to make him feel the same pain as you, isn't that right? But Mr. Sprocket has managed to fight back and knock Mr. Bloomsbury unconscious. You thought Mr. Bloomsbury was dead and hit his body in the lantern. But then you noticed Mr. Bloomsbury had regained consciousness. And so you finished him off to prevent your plan from being exposed. This is the defense's take on what really happened in this murder case. Mr. Wright, does this mean you wish to officially accuse this witness of the murder of Dumas Bloomsbury? Does the defense accuse Mr. Mitchell of the murder? Accuse, obviously. Defense indicts Beers Nichadi on the charge of murdering Dumas Bloomsbury. Oh my. Mr. Nichadi, would you care to respond? Man, this lawyer just yaps and yawn and on and on. As you guessed, this watch is a memento of Selena. It stopped working at the time of the murder accident, though. Then, you really are. Yes, I was Selena's fiancé. And not just her fiancé, but the surgeon beside her dead bed. Dead? Mr. Nichadi, why didn't you tell me any of this before? Shut it, you useless prosecutor. Oh, I thought you could be of use, but apparently this case was too much for you. What did you say? If your office hadn't stuck its nose all up in this, I could have swept it under the rug. Not only did you interfere with the case, but you even let me fall under suspicion. That's because you kept trying to cover things up on the sly. But covering things up wasn't your only involvement. The only person who had motive to use the victim to try and kill Miss Wyatt was you! Oh! Ah! Malignant tumors. There are malignant tumors in this courtroom. Lesions oozing with false charges. What the? The tumors are one idiotic lawyer and one useless prosecutor. After the truth is revealed, I'll have the both of you inside from the legal world. Okay. I'd like to see you try. With the power of Sprocket family, it'd be a cinch. He's a chief prosecutor, you know. I will now begin the operation. What in the world happened to Mr. Nichadi? Looks like he's finally showing his true colors. Take a look what he did to that shoulder mech. Quit your yapping before I sauter you chat these lips shut. It's like he's a completely different person. Sure looks like it, huh? We can let our guards down now. Mr. Nichadi, it's finally time for you to testify. The truth! Seems we are entering the final act at last. Witness your testimony, please. Let me take a bathroom break first. Right to remain silent. What the? It's just quiet. Hello? Mr. Nichari, why did you say anything? He just took a picture of me or something. You want me to voluntarily testify? Hoping I will make a slip of the tongue? Not a very impressive plan, or brain, I might add. Ah, well, that was uncalled for. If you want to know something, you ask the question. I will answer, but I have no intention of making any voluntary statements of my own. What's he trying to do? He's using the silent treatment as his strategy to avoid getting tripped up. Clever guy. No more lies, Mr. Nichari. You will tell us nothing but the truth from now on. What do you think you're doing? No one asked you to speak. Just keep quiet over there and play with your frills. How dare you? Well, this is a rather unconventional situation, but please proceed, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. How am I gonna... Okay.
Hold it!
If he won't speak voluntarily, then I guess I'll have to ask him something. What question should I ask? Reason for killing Bloomsbury, grudge against Sorin, actions of the day, on the day of the crime. On the day of the incident, you were constantly surrounded by your subordinates, is that right? Absolutely. I was in someone's line of sight at all times. After all, I was busy taking care of every detail of the event. Mr. Edgeworth, I believe your investigation backs up my claim. I got statements that said groups of his subordinates worked with him in rotation. So he was always with someone. As the prosecutors just said, I couldn't even get close to the lantern containing Bloomsbury by myself, let alone kill him. Because they didn't have a chance to get close to the victim alone, huh? But what if he went with, you know, with Mr. Sprocket? Add to testimony! Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to have that statement added to his testimony. Very well. As always, in the company of others, I didn't have any opportunity to murder Bloomsbury. Do you have anything to prove it? He's there, right? But then... Where's that the picture I got? Didn't I have two pictures? He's there, but he's alone.
Objection!
Nichari testified that he was always with someone at the time of the incident. Never had a moment alone to commit the crime. Yes, and the police investigation backs that statement up, doesn't it? But there was an opportunity, in fact. One and only one. Moment where Mr. Nichari could have killed Mr. Bloomsbury without anyone noticing. What? And the one thing that made that moment possible. Shown here in this photograph. With all those people watching, I couldn't have possibly committed murder. Do not believe him, Your Honor. This lawyer is a malignant tumor. He wants to infect this judicial body with what? Virulent something? Virulent accusations. Objection. Mr. Nichari, I would ask that you keep quiet this time. You need to evaluate this defense's claim. Your yammering only serves to throw further suspicion your way. Mr. Wright, let's see this one thing you mentioned. The P1 warrant? This had better not be one of your offhanded claims. Who do you think you are talking to, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, Mr. Wright. Please point out for us the one thing that made the moment of the murder possible. That one moment when it was possible for Mr. Nichari to kill Mr. Bloomsbury. The one thing that made... is this. I think it's the smoke, right?
Take that!
The one thing that made the moment of the murder possible is this thick, smooth fog that engulfed the entire reception hall. It is under the cover of this fog Mr. Charlie murdered the victim! What? Mr. Charlie was standing right next to the lantern that Mr. Bloomsbury was in. This was only the moment the murder could have been committed without being seen.
Objection!
I can accept that there was a moment when the witness was obscured from the others by fog. But that doesn't prove Mr. Nichali killed the victim at that very moment. You can't prove the crime was committed during the reception, then trial ends here. I was so caught up in the finding a foothold that I forgot to think that far ahead. Well done, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time to call this trial's time of death. Well, Mr. Wright, can you prove the murder happened during the reception? Don't even bother, his claim is dead on arrival. Victory is within your grasp, prosecutor. Quiet, witness. I have no interest in victory. All I care about is the truth. I want that we can only arrive at through further deliberation. Edgeworth. Enough of this, Your Honor. This trial is over. No, Mr. Nichati. That is for me to decide. Mr. Wright, can you prove it? Can you prove that the murder was committed during the wedding reception? Or is there no verdict yet? The lawyers obviously out of answers. The prosecutor, the judge, they're all infected. Their malignant stupidity is so advanced, not even the best surgeons can save them. In fact, not even a brain transplant could cure them. This court is infected with ideology. It's a pandemic.
Objection!
Mr. Charlie, that's enough already. You finally ready to give up, are you? No, just the opposite, actually. I'll prove the murder was committed during the reception. By you! You'll prove it? Can you really, Mr. Wright? Yes, I can, Your Honor. To be honest, I don't know exactly how I'll do it just yet. But if I want to get to the truth Edgeworth was talking about, I'll just have to find that way. Very well, Mr. Wright. Let's have you prove. Enough of this foolishness. He's just bluffing. Stop him from speaking, Your Honor. I will do nothing of this sort. You're just a discreet court judge. With the power of the Sprocket family, I'll... Enough of your foolishness, Mr. Nichati. This judicial body will not succumb to the influence of money or power. Now then, let's hear it, Mr. Wright. Let's hear the truth. Think Phoenix, remember everything you have learned so far? You can do it. You can do this. You can find the definitive evidence that will lead us to the truth. Alright, here we go. Think Phoenix, how can I prove the murder took place during the wedding reception? If Pierce committed the murder during the reception, then they had to have used the murder weapon, obviously. Yes, the weapon that was used to strike the victims twice. According to the autopsy report, the victim was hit by the same object both times. It's without doubt, Pierce used it to commit the murder. The weapon used to kill Bloomsbury, the timekeeper, right? Pierce struck the victim during that one single moment. They must have used the timekeeper. Don't think of it, wasn't it also used for something else during the reception? During the reception, the timekeeper was also used for the first test of love was... I forgot which one is it. Let's try this. Nope. That's not the one. It was the first starter of the love. The timekeeper had been activated. That's right, the timekeeper had been activated during the reception. Deactivate the timekeeper again now and find any trace evidence of the murder. That would be conclusive proof that the Bloomsbury was killed during the reception. Whew. A special ceremony took place during the reception in question. What kind of special ceremony? It was called the first start of love. Apparently, the couple activated the timekeeper for the first time during it. Does that mean the timekeeper here in the evidence isn't activated at the moment? And what would happen if we were to activate it? Why don't we see it for ourselves? It would give us a chance to examine it. And while we're at it, we just might find some conclusive evidence. What? No, you can't activate it. Mr. Nichari, keep quiet or I'll have you thrown out of court. By the way, Mr. Wright, this is supposed to be a time machine, right? We aren't going to travel back in time to Stone Age or anything, are we? No, we are not. I don't think we have to worry too much about that, Your Honor. I'm still a little nervous nonetheless, but the truth must be known. Very well, go ahead and start up the timekeeper. Do you know how? I think so, maybe. The bride and groom each had symbol of their love, and when they put them together, oh, how romantic it was. Let's see, I think the symbol of the groom's love must be the timekeeper itself. What symbol of the bride's love would fit together with the timekeeper? Oh, I know, that has to be it. Mr. Wright, are you ready to accept the time machine now? Yes, Your Honor. The symbol of the bride's love that's necessary for activating the timekeeper is the timekeeper itself.
Take that!
Oh wait, oops. No, wait. Oops. Pendant.
Take that!
Miss Wyatt's pendant. It's the symbol of the bride's love that's necessary for the activating the timekeeper. What? Then does that mean you can start it up with the Miss Wyatt's pendant? No, we cannot really the other one. I believe so, Your Honor. Very well. Please try it now, Mr. Wright. Okay, here I go. But first, I have to figure out where the pendant goes. Come on, Phoenix. We can have this one too. Key of love. Where do I put the pendant? Do I put it right there? Oh, wait. It's a propeller designed to look like a branch of clock. I think it doesn't do it. Okay, no. This all looks like a good spot. I'll try to stay independent here. It fits. This must be the right spot. Now I have to find a place to insert the key. Mirror metal. I sure would want to get it with something like that. It's all in the middle of the president. Could this be it? Alright. Well, it worked! The timekeeper's been activated. Now all I have to do is find proof that the crime was committed during this reception. It's right there! Alright, I think I found it. Conclusive evidence that the murder was committed during the wedding reception. Just as suspected, there is evidence of the murder inside the timekeeper, Mr. Nichari. The timekeeper was only activated and opened during the wedding reception, right? No, stop! So that means this is conclusive proof that the crime was committed during the reception. After you killed the victim under the cover of the fog, you closed the timekeeper to hide the bloodstain, didn't you? No, you're wrong. Ellen killed Bloomsbury. It wasn't me, I tell you.
Objection!
Give it up, Mr. Nichari. How could the defendant, who was in the middle of the pledging her love, have possibly committed the murder with everyone watching her? It was the family. Yes, all the family members conspired together to kill him.
Objection!
There's no way you can talk your way out of this, Mr. Nichari. During the reception, during that one dreamlike moment, only one person could have used the timekeeper to beat the victim to death. And that one person was you! Pierce Nichari! No, this isn't over yet. I won't give up! Oh no, I cut the artery! This stupid thing! We will stop the bleeding now. Give me the forceps. Forceps, I said. Hey, where's everyone? Fine, I'll manage this alone. I'll do it all by myself. I can fix anything, repair anything. So you have to get better. You have to live. You must. I would have been able to save her. If only I hadn't listened to her. If only I had treated her first. If only that Sorin hadn't been there. Selena. No. Damn. Damn. Witness, are you finally ready to tell us the truth? It's just as the lawyer deduced. It was all revenge scheme against Sorin Sprocket. Do you have any idea how hard it is to lose someone you love right in front of you? Selena's condition was clearly more critical than Sorin's, but in spite of that, she said, "Please help Sorin." Miss Sprocket's last words, so that's what she really meant by those words. I was able to grant her wish, but at the price of her life. So you got a job with Sprocket Aviation and waited for your chance to get revenge. You got close to Mr. Gloomsbury, and what hatched this plot, is that right? Gloomsbury already bore a grudge against Sorin. So when I tempted him with an even better position, he immediately took the bait. He was your accomplice, someone who shared the same goal as you. What was necessary for you to kill him? I didn't expect Sorin to strike Gloomsbury out on the Vista deck. And I certainly never imagined he'd make his way there along the outside wall. Sorin's love is the real deal after all. My plan had been compromised, so for the time being I hid his body in the lantern and tried to think of my next move. And then Mr. Gloomsbury came to during the second wedding reception. As soon as I saw Gloomsbury, I instantly hit upon an idea. To pin the blame of Gloomsbury's murder on Ellen. You tried to break up the couple by making the bride out to be the murderer. How despicable. Sorin was getting the company and wedding. And a wedding? All things that were supposed to be Selena's. He took every happiness from her. Well, who's the despicable one here? Do you think what you did would make her happy? I know it wouldn't. But I couldn't just stand by watching Sorin enjoy his happiness. I was going to have Sorin taste the same pain I had, and then take over Sprocket Aviation. I would take back from him all of the happiness that was rightfully Selena's. Time stopped for me the day I lost her. Just like this pocket watch of hers. Pierce. Miss Wyatt? I believe Selena would have said, "Leave this ill will behind. Your time is yours to live." It's too late for me. Time will never advance for me ever again. What? It can't be. Oh. I see now, Selena. What I did was wrong. I see no further need to continue this trial. Bailiff, please take Mr. Nichari away. Pierce Nichadi, another inconsolable time traveler, who lived in time that stood still. Now I must render my verdict regarding the defendant. Your Honor, before you give your ruling, would you please allow me a moment? Very well. Ellen, there's something I need to say to you. Yes, Sorin? I put you through something truly horrible. This whole thing happened all because of me. I would understand if you wanted to call off our marriage. What? Of course not. I never once thought that. If you stay with me, you'll only face even more trying times in the future. What do you mean? The truth of this incident and the car accident before it. I'm going to tell the public everything. I expect the company's reputation will suffer and I'll take a lot of criticism. But I feel I can only really start over once I get everything out in the open. Sorin. After all that's happened, I might not have the right to ask you this, but... Well, how should I say this? Maybe I'll just... A life with me probably won't be very easy, but... Will you marry me? Oh. Yes, of course! Your Honor, thank you for this time. Please continue with your ruling. Very well. But first, I have one question. Do the two of you pledge your eternal love for each other to the goddess of justice, Themis? I do, Your Honor. I do. Does the prosecution of the or defense have any objections? Well done, Your Honor. No objections here. The defense has no objection either, Your Honor. This court finds defendant Ellen Wyatt. That's not right. This court finds the defendant Ellen Sprocket not guilty. This court is adjourned. Ellen Sorin, congratulations, Mr. Wright. I can't thank you enough. You had exposed the truth. Sorin and I wouldn't. We wouldn't. But now you can finally start your new life together, right? Oh, thank you. Mr. Wright, we'll be holding our real wedding ceremony in the near future. Would you do us the honor of coming to it? I want you to witness our fresh start. Of course, I wouldn't miss it for the world. And then this time, it will finally be happily ever after, right? Oh yes, the two of you have perceived and overcome this trial together. Now, no matter what obstacles come your way, I'm sure you'll be able to handle them. And there's another thing I'm sure of too. This person will always be watching over the two of you. Oh, I didn't know.
Take that!
Take that, Selena. Yes, I think you're right. And we promise to live life to the fullest for Selena's sake too. Right, Sorin. That's right. Well, we better be on our way. Yes, my love. Oh. Wow, the old threshold carry, huh? Ready to show off. We'll be seeing you. Goodbye for now. I'll be looking forward to that wedding. Hold on tight, Ellen. You better believe I will. I'm never letting you go. There they go. You're not thinking of going to that wedding by yourself, are you, boss? You're taking us too, right? Oh boy, I bet there's gonna be all kinds of fancy food there. Athena, when did you get here? Just now, I would have been here to cheer you guys on earlier, but Juicy never gave me a chance to slip away. You're going to be in even bigger trouble with her later. Speaking of the wedding, maybe I should ask them to invite Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth, really? But he thought Ellen was guilty all the way to the end. That may be true, but don't even bother, his claim is dead on arrival. Quiet witness. If he hadn't stood up for us when he did, the trial probably would have ended there. You mean Mr. Edgeworth gave us that chance? Maybe. Though knowing him, I doubt he'd ever tell Evelyn if I asked. Well, if that's how you feel about it, then why not try to get him invited? Hey Maya, you ever tried to catch the bouquet? What? No. I never have either. Fighting over a bouquet that's been tossed by the bride, talk about a fierce competition. I'm totally stoked. I'm not sure it's really supposed to be all that competitive. I'm a pretty good jumper, so I think I got a chance. She's definitely missing the point of the whole thing. And Larry, how did you manage to stay so quiet for so long? Shut up! Pushing the lady you fell in love with every happiness is what a real man does. I'm pretty sure that relationship was over before it even began, Larry. Darn it all, if only I was 10 years younger, things would have gone differently. Hands up time, why don't you turn back for me? Today's Ellen's and Sloane's third wedding ceremony and reception. I heard that bride and groom insisted it to be on the Flying Chapel again. In the end, they were nice enough to invite me and Maya, and Athena kind of invited herself. They also invited Edgeworth, Emma, and even Larry. They say third time's the charm, right? I really do hope it's the happily ever after for them this time around. Still, I get the feeling it's going to be one rowdy party.
Ready when you are. Okay. Here we go.
Who will get it?
Huh? Oh.
Who's gonna get it? Larry!
Oh, hey! Look who's next!
Bro!
Huh?
Haven't you ever heard of Lady
I'm truly blessed to have you.
Larry. Wow, the end! We did it. GG. There we go. That's the Ace Attorney game. Ace Attorney